in this draft, every last one of these picks ain't going to be pretty. Sometimes it's going to get a little bit ugly. And all of the picks ain't going to come at the front end of this draft where it's fat, where all the so-called great players are. The really good, the really good GMs and coaches and all of that personnel in that building can really, really thrive mid to late rounds in this draft. Some of these guys we're going to put on display tonight are really, really good. Really, really, when I'm thinking about development with these coaches that we have, I'm thinking about what they can do with these pieces and these traits that these pieces have. But you ain't gonna get it all. You ain't gonna get all blue chip pieces at the very front part of the draft. It's just not gonna happen. Well, with that being said, let's get it cracking. Yo, 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 no maniacs, super no maniacs, and all in between. Welcome to another edition of All Eyes on Future Bears. Well, we've been over here doing our damn due diligence to make sure that you're covered over here. And I'm feeling like a pretty proud pop. So I'm in a little bit, you know what I mean? Because I'm looking at this 30, not the 30 visits. The 30 visits is going to happen as soon as the combine is over. They're going to start scheduling those and getting guys set up for the 30 visit. You can get a real sense of who these guys are, really targeting, maybe. But I'm looking at these combine meetings and things like that, and it's pretty much a whole bunch of dudes that we've been talking about over here on the Nomad Network. I'm gonna put that on the screen here shortly. A lot of those dudes are all those dudes that we've been talking about over here. Several of them, I'm sure that a lot of people didn't know. These are. It just makes me feel good because I've been giving my all to this off season, and in pie in the face to all the people that says, there's no content in the off season, there's no this, there's no that. I beg to differ. I think if you're willing to do the work and you're willing to put in the time, there's all kinds of content. You just got to find the right content. You got to be willing to do the work. Go investigate these players. I went deep the entire off season over here for the Nomad Network. I've gone deep. We're going to continue to do that here on this show. Few of those guys that we're going to talk about tonight potentially could be UDFAs. But guess what? Just because there's 230, 40, 50 some odd guys that get drafted out of thousands. All of these guys ain't gonna reach that level. But the aftermarket value for some of these guys, mid to late rounds, I mean, there is some real value in this draft. And I'm gonna do my part to make sure you guys get to see it all, man. And so tonight it's going to be, it's going to be a few names you might know about. It's going to be a few names I'm pretty sure it's probably not on your radar, but we're going to put them out there for you guys. But I feel pretty good knowing that we put in all this work in this offseason, researching these guys and making sure that we got, tapping the right, button right now. And I think we're doing that right now, knowing Dennis Allen, knowing who Ben Johnson wants to be. You got to find the right pieces out there. And that's what I'm doing over here. And so, FFG, I just said a whole lot right there. I'm going to pass it to you for some pleasantries or anything you want to say right now.
Yo, what up, No Maniacs? Welcome on a Friday night. We're going to have some fun and show you some cats that you probably don't even know about and some people that you're going to think about going forward because you're going to be like, dang, where y'all find this cat at? And it's going to be some sleepers in this draft that's really going to impress you. Just go look at the tape. I ain't going to tell you to look up their bios and where they went to school at and all that mess and who their daddy is. Just go look at the tape. And that's what's going to impress you the most. I got to give shout-outs to the No Maniacs. Number 2, Mr. Squalls in the house. Victor Perez, Marco King, Petty Murphy in the crib. Welcome, everybody. So, yeah, it's going to be a pleasant surprise tonight about the cats that you're going to figure out that's probably not a whole lot of teams' radar, at least not the top. But those middle to late rounds, we probably going to clean up. And especially if we trade back or get some extra capital, it's going to really build this team out with a lot of depth. Trust me.
I appreciate Cornelius Squalls, my guy over here. I ain't going to call you number 2. You number 1, and everybody's number 1 to me. You know what I mean? I feel I love all y'all, man, and y'all make it worth the time I spend to get this thing done. He says, no, man, I have to admit, you've been nailing it. And I'm just now getting in the thick of it. Cornelius. I appreciate that, man, because you know, a lot of. Well, you know what I don't like about the Bears fan base, bro, is we get so damn tribal. It's like, okay, if I support this channel over here, I'm not going to support them because I don't. And that is so ridiculous to me. That is beyond ridiculous. And it's a lot of guys that watch this content over here that are doing podcasts, some of your favorite dudes that are absolutely scraping off the top. Just like, okay, this guy is nice, you know, and I don't say nothing about that. Follow the leader. It's great. That's what you should do. But I just don't like the tribalism, man. I don't like the fact that people, you know, will watch and be supportive of another network, whether it be a big one or a small one. And then, you know, I just don't like that, man. We all are fans. We all want to see the same damn thing. And so I appreciate you, Cornelius, man, to my heart, man. I appreciate you saying that because that's like the Christmas present you're looking for when all you're doing is working. You know what I mean? All you're doing is working, researching. I was up to 6 this morning trying to finish up the stuff for this show, man. You know, a lot of these dudes that you're going to see on the screen, I wrote down a long time ago, but I had to refresh my mind on their film up until like 6 this morning to remind myself what I saw. And so it's some pretty impressive guys here. You know, like I said, it's going to be some of them that you're going to look for them and look at the draft projection. You're going to see UDFA. I would say ignore that. 110% ignore that. Don't worry about where you think they might be drafted. That tends to make people think that's what they're worth, right? You see somebody's draft projection, you think, oh, they're not that good if they're going to be a UDFA. Nah, it's just that, you know, you're only going to be able to draft so many guys. That's just the ball-headed truth about the NFL and how many guys get drafted. I always thought it was a flaw in the system that they only get to draft so many guys and they only get to dress so many guys and keep so many guys on the roster. How you gonna really compete at a high level with 53 guys on your roster? How you gonna do that?
It's a travesty to me that really, no matter if you got 53-man roster, why can't you dress 53 guys every week? Why you got to sit 6 of them down, don't even get to play? That don't make no sense. It's like you got 6 backups that just holding a clipboard or getting Gatorade. Why are you paying them to sit on the sideline? That's like the dude on the practice squad. So why have a practice squad, in my opinion?
Well, the practice is important to be able to feature somebody's offense or somebody's defense so that you can get a semblance of what they're going to try to throw at you. Now, that's important. Practice squad, that is very important. You know, you get out there and they get to show you how you're going to prepare for Lamar Jackson. Find the most athletic guy on your practice squad, let him play quarterback, and get an idea on how you're going to have to defend this guy. And so practice squads are very important. I have no qualms with the practice squad stuff, but, you know, how many guys you can play with and dress, I have a problem with that. But that's a little side conversation we can have for later on. Have you heard about the guys that they've been meeting with? Have you heard anything? Have you seen the list at all?
Yeah, I mean, they met with Tyler Warren. Do we really expect them to draft Tyler Warren? No. So this is the Dog and Pony Show that y'all need to check out. What's up, Paul Rodriguez? It's Crimson You Dig. Welcome to the show. So don't be enamored with everybody you see, because this is the biggest cat and mouse game of the season with who gets an interview and who doesn't. The 30-man business is going to tell you a little bit more about who they want to pursue because they're going to have more time. These are just probably players that are trying to get a little bit of information on to see whether or not it's even beneficial for them to bring them in a 53-man visit. So that's what you want to look at going forward. Don't be enamored at everybody who's been rumored to be have an interview and all that, because a lot of teams do practice deceptive options during this time of the year to give other teams a false sense of who they want and who they're going to draft. So now they start asking questions, around the league and other GMs and other teams like, oh, what do you think of this guy? Because they win, don't fall for it. That's all I'm going to tell you. Just wait till next week, especially when free agency opens, and then watch the 30 visits to see who actually comes in. Those are going to be more telling than anything else.
Well, I'm gonna put what I've seen out there up on the screen. Let me see here. And I felt like a proud papa by this. Michael Williams. Can you see this? Can you see it?
Yeah.
All right. Michael Williams, no secret. Mason Graham, no secret. Jamari Caldwell, defensive tackle from Oregon, big nose tackle. Was he on anybody's radar? I doubt it. We did him over here. We dealt with it over here. Jalen McLeod was right there next to a show that we was about to do, but I was just like, he's listed more as an edge rusher. And, I see his traits, and I was just like, if they were interested in him, it's going to be as a linebacker. I doubt if it's at edge rusher. And so he would be, I don't just do this stuff for nothing. I'm only going to focus on the guys that I think are fits in the system. And I didn't see him. Now, if he comes to Chicago, he's definitely a stand-up linebacker. He's not going to be an edge rusher. That's for one. But they could have, like FFG said, this could be an information gathering episode of, they could be after Jason Jones, a big nose tackle, big Akeem Hicks type body. He could be best friends with him. That's good reason to use one of your visits to get some character, information out of that guy. But that's a few of them. Carson Schlesinger. Who else was talking about him before this? Who else?
Nobody.
Exactly. Here we go. Kane Madrano. I thought the Kane Madrano meeting was about Carson Schlesinger. And to be honest with you, that's what I had in the back of my head. I was like, he's probably best friends with Carson, because Carson was clearly the best linebacker on that team to me. Period. Ashton Genty, no surprise. Omarion Hampton, really no surprise, but we did feature him over here. He was one of those, until the offseason, wasn't a whole lot of people talking about him, but he did, start ticking up on the radar a little bit. So I ain't gonna try to claim that one. Gunnar Helm, he's I think it's a tight end. He's on the list, but I didn't focus on him or Terrence Ferguson yet. Terrence Ferguson was probably going to be on this next show, but now I don't even feel like I need to do it. I'm busy trying to find guys that ain't nobody talking about that can really play their butts off. Sebastian Castro is on the show tonight. I haven't waited 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We did Andrew Makuba on the very first, I think the very first show we did, FFG, if I'm not mistaken.
First or second, yeah. We had him pegged early.
Yeah. Kevin Winston as well, the safety from Penn State. Right there in the first 1 or 2 shows we did. Dorian Strong. Did him over here.
Got him. Right away, too.
Ozzie Trapillo, he's coming.
We haven't done him officially.
He's coming. He's a BC guy from Ryan Poles' alma mater. He's coming. I keep looking at his tape, and there's some things about him that kind of, I don't know. But I'll talk about it when it comes time to. We'll put him on the show, but he's definitely on that list. Jack Betch, who was talking about him first? Anybody?
Yep.
Exactly. Nobody knew about him until he got to the Senior Bowl.
Technically in the bowl game, he blew up. That's where he got his street cred, for the national
We did Jack Betch 2-3 weeks before the Senior Bowl.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. That's where he got a lot of pub, though, because nobody knew about him before we said something. Same thing with Restrepo, excuse me.
Xavier Restrepo. Ain't see nobody else talking about him. Kyle Williams either. Washington State slot receiver. I ain't heard nothing. But this is, when all is said and done, all it means to me, that was fun. That's a fun little exercise just to, you deserve at this point. If you've been working as hard as we have over here, you deserve a little King Kong chest pounding, because I put the work in. You know what I mean? I put the work in to research these guys to make sure this network is represented. And one of the things about this thing over here, I get to thinking about stuff. And I was up late last night, and you get to a point, FFG, where you start to feel a little burn of all the tape that you're watching. You start to feel a little bit of burnout. And it's just like, okay, all right, is it really worth it? And I get to thinking about you guys that's in this show right now, from the Notch, Cornelius Squalls, AC Adam, Victor Perez, Minister Charles, all these people. I get to thinking about them and knowing that, we represent something. We represent something, and then what they expect of us. And so right when I'm starting to feel like, all right, I could, 6 a.m, dude, I'm still trying to finish up the show. My girlfriend was here and was off, so she got in the way a little bit, but I had to stay up a long time to make sure I got this stuff covered. And so it makes it worth it when I see people come in here and, they get to go see the players for themselves and come back and say the responses are everything, how they think about it. They don't have to necessarily agree with what I say or you say, but the fact that they went out and did some homework and started doing some research on their own, that shit is like gold to me. That we can inspire somebody to go out there and look at some film and give some feedback. But to know that Ryan Poles got like pretty much all those guys on that list was guys we covered over here before anybody else was, that feels good. No kidding you. But anything else about that FFG you there?
Yeah, no, I was just checking out the chat.
Why is it
just crazy? He said Cole Kidman is on my chit list.
I could tell, Nas. He come in hot.
Right. So hope everything is going well, Mr. Squalls. Life gives you lemons. Sometimes you just gotta make a lemonade, bro. So my thoughts and prayers and wishes go out, to everybody affected by negativity at this point. We're gonna see what's really cracking going forward. But one thing you don't see on these other networks is they want to report the news. We don't report the news. We report what should be happening or what they should be looking at and what can benefit the team more than where the stadium is going to be or who the next option is in free agency because now somebody else ain't available type BS. That's, to me, your anchor. You just reporting the news. We over bringing you hardcore facts that's telling you, hey, we do our homework. We show you what actually can be the next set of Bears that's going to be able to benefit the team in all kinds of ways. And again, some of these dudes probably going to be UDFAs, but some of the Hall of Famers in the league, guess where they came from? UDFA status. So don't sleep on nobody today. That's all I'm going to tell you.
And
Charles, if you don't stop talking about some catfish, bro.
Mr. Charles always cooking some fish or something. Always. But yeah, man, it's like I love this part of the season, to be honest with you, man, because what I really, really love to do deep down is this is what keeps me connected to the game. Me being a guy that played, this is the best thing I can do to get connected to the game is evaluate the talent out here. And being a Bears podcaster now, I get to really sink my teeth into this, man. And it's just like it is really like this. Like, it's a guy here. I know we're not going to draft a cornerback. I don't think we're going to draft a cornerback, but anything can happen in the offseason. Anything can happen in the offseason. It could be a trade or two, anything that can happen during the draft or before the draft. We'll see all that stuff play out soon. But if they go in the draft and draft a corner or something like that, like it's a guy I know, it was just a personal preference that I had to get this cornerback on him because I think he's the best out there. I know I said Lamarion James was the best man corner in college. I meant that. But the best all-around corner in this draft cycle ain't Lamarion James. I'm going to show you who that is. You saw him on the thumbnail, so it ain't no secret to nobody. But holy shit, this dude's a stud, man. Straight up, he's going to lock it up. He's like Patrick Surtain. He's just in college right now. I mean, he's a stud. And so, it's just fun to do this kind of stuff, man, because I am about, I just want to see, knowing that the Bears are in this position to really, really gain some assets. And you ain't going to be able to get rich on the free agent market like you think you are. You're going to be able to get a couple, 2, 3 pieces, maybe 4, who knows, however much they spend out there. You get a few pieces, but you just got to know that this draft is going to be how you build your roster out. And those Trey Smiths, that Trey Smith that's out there that everybody's excited about, came in the 5th or 6th round. And somebody had faith in his traits and ability and said, you know what, I can do something with that. Remember those words, seeing his traits, seeing his potential. I know what I can do with that. Bring him in here. We'll work with him and start building him into a $20+ million football player. How do you get to that point? Identifying talent, being sure about it, seeing what you want to see and saying, bring that kid into the building. Let me get my hands on him. You have to see that here. You have to see that here since I became a podcast. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I do believe they got some coaches in here that can really help us along the lines in that process, man. So that's what I'm looking forward to. You're not going to get rich in free agency and really build this team. You're going to do it in the draft and have some strong conviction about what you've been seeing. I got some strong conviction about what I, evaluated on these players tonight. And you guys are going to get to see that.
Well, as Crimsy Dig is 100% correct, development. And now we got great teachers that have proven track record of developing players into studs from people you ain't never heard of. Because I can guarantee you, most people didn't know who none of them linemen were for Dan Rochar. Most of the cornerbacks that played in Dallas, did nobody know nothing about them till Mr. Harris got a hold of them. He even turned the wide receivers. Well, Amon-Ra St. Brown and them cats, they got turned around by the native Chicagoan. So we have teachers all over the place, young and old. So that's probably the biggest key that I see going forward. Well, we can parlay like his first draft. They parlay this into 10 or 11 picks. Sky's the limit. You get 3 or 4 blue chip players and a couple quality pieces, and then great depth to train up along with whatever you get in free agency. Then the team will be solid because we know every position will be developed going forward. And that's what I'm looking forward to for the first time in a long time.
So when you hear the word blue chip piece, what comes to your mind? You don't got to get, elaborate.
Oh, I'm talking about stud who's honed their craft, that knows exactly how to play the position and has been coached well in college, and their technique is sound.
I think of blue chip. When I hear the words blue chip, I think of traits. It's like would you consider now that that Trey Smith was a blue chip piece? Now, what you know now?
When he was drafted, no.
No. What you know now about Trey Smith? Would you consider him a blue chip football player?
I'm gonna consider him a fringe blue chip player, but the market makes him seem like a blue chip player because he's young and has performed well under great tutelage.
I like what Victor Perez says. He says a plug and play in the system from day one. That's a blue chip football player. That's a lot like what I'm thinking too, Victor, because it's like when I look at these guys, I'm looking for a certain something. And I'll get into detail with each one of those guys, but I'm looking for a certain something, whether it's a tackle, whether it's a guard, whether it's a center, whether it's a receiver. It don't matter what the position is. I'm looking for a certain something. To me, the traits make the blue chip piece, and the traits could be a player in the 7th round or after the draft. He's gonna still have those blue chip traits. Now, how he morphs into the blue chip player, that's a whole other conversation. That's about development. That's about development and being sure about what you have in this player and being sure about having conviction, Ryan Poles, in the coaches that you have in the building, that they can develop and make these traits showcase themselves on the field. And so that you see, like, damn, we got this guy in the 6th, 7th round. Like, it's going to be some dudes on the show. You're going to be like, man, we'll be able to get him later or after the draft. Are you kidding me? And so the traits are there. I promise you, I did my research enough to tell you that. The traits are there in each and every one of these football players. It's about how they develop these guys moving forward. And that's the beauty about, doing the research is you see what you need to see in a football player and know what a coach is actually looking for and what stands out to the coach. And you see those traits, and that makes you circle that player, FFG. And then you get into the real tape. Like, how consistently does he do this? How consistently does he do that? And you compare that and what you saw to what a whole bunch of people are saying about a football player out there, and it just don't even add up. It's just like you ain't going to get a player. It's hard to find a player that you're going to get right out of college, and it's going to be a day one ready to start in the NFL and be ready for all the extremes that the NFL has. No, dude, you got to put in work with every last one of these guys, and whoever gets drafted, that work starts that day they get drafted. Get to work, get in here and be coachable, and be willing to, be uncomfortable in what they ask you to do. You might get a tackle. There's a few tackles on this in the show tonight that I'm gonna probably project that they could probably, switch over to guard. There's a couple of them in there, and that's the reason why I highlighted them. So, the process is important. I mean, knowing that you've got a piece that you can really, really work with, and you got the people in the building that can really get it done with them. I just want to be reassured that we got those guys in there because it makes what I'm doing worthwhile.
Well, no, man, I got a quick question for you then. So what about Kyron Amagaji? Because he's got the traits, but he didn't get the coaching. So do you think with quality coaching, he can be a blue chip kind of player?
I 100% believe that. I watched Kyron Amagaji's tape enough to be able to tell you that he's not really missing anything other than, just continuity with the guys he's playing with, knowing what position he's going to play and getting the proper amount of reps. People saw all that tape. Kyron Amagaji just did not look good sometimes, but there were other times that that's what kind of sticks out in people's minds is what the bad stuff that they see. They see the bad stuff and they think that's what this player is. And I can look at probably 10, 12, 15 reps of Kyron Amagaji that was like, man, he executed the shit out of that. You know what I mean? But that's what sticks with people. They see the bad reps and they just, okay, he ain't ready. I think he's going to get an opportunity. They're gonna put him in front of Dan Rochar. Dan Rochar has already looked at the tape, evaluated the tape, and he knows he's got an idea of what he wants to do with Kyron Amagaji. But I think he's going to give him an opportunity to see if he can compete for that left tackle spot after a whole year under his belt and going through the whirlwind of being a rookie. I think the ceiling, if you put a cap on it, you might not see the Kyron Amagaji you need to. But if you see enough in camp and you're not seeing what you need to see at tackle, you're going to slide him on inside. You've got that. He's 320-something pounds, dude, and can move people. You know what I mean? So you got a piece. It's about what you do with it. I think he's definitely a guy. No, 110%.
Okay. No, I'm just saying because I know a lot of people like yourself, we identify with traits. That this guy's a stud because he's a prototypical, got the bend, got the length, the arm length, the speed, power, the spin move, he can get upfield, he could change direction. Got the swim over, it just that he didn't play for a top tier team and he didn't get the accolades and stuff in college, but he gets with the right defensive line coach, could be a monster because most people didn't know who Khalil Mack was playing at Buffalo. And now they're considering him probably going to the Hall of Fame.
That's wild. Do me a favor. I'm about to pop out for like 30 seconds. And I'll be right back. Just holler at the No Maniacs and talk football for a second. I'll be right back.
Doug Plank, Doug Buffoon, Richard Dent. We're all late round picks. So quality. Yeah, of course, quality players you can find. They had great character traits. I'm just telling you, a lot of the people you're going to see today, they're probably not being highly touted or profiled on anybody's board or anybody's podcast. But when you see the tape on a lot of these dudes, you're going to be impressed at how well they play for a team that may not have been in the college playoff. They may have not been in their conference championship. But for the league they played in, a lot of them are big time. I think there's like one or two dudes, like the guy that running back from NIU that didn't play against top tier competition every single week that wasn't a Power 5 conference, pretty much. So you're going to be able to see in a guy from Utah, which technically that conference actually played well this year. So you're going to see a lot of people that people ain't talking about all over the country, and especially if you don't stay up late on the weekend, you'll never see them dudes from the West Coast play. There's a lot of them that can ball. They just ain't on the best teams. And so if you really want to get your football on and you really have nothing better to do on a Saturday or a Thursday night or whatever, you got some free time, let's go look at some tape. There's going to be a bunch of dudes that you're going to see, especially when you start doing your mock drafts for yourself after free agency starts, next week or a week from Monday, you're going to be like, dang, it's really going down. There's a lot of cats on here that I could pick up with them late six and, the 2-6 and the 7th round pick. And I truly believe the Bears are going to trade back. I don't think but 3 dudes they would probably take in the first 10 picks. So you could trade back to 16. You could trade back to 18 and pick up a 2nd and a 5th or a 2nd and a 4th. and then you can really be cooking with Crisco. The top 10 pick on the scale actually gets you a lot more just for that one spot. So because we stay in the top 10, makes that pick more valuable to every other team, especially if you need something. So I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of people going to try to come up and get a Genty or some other position or Tyler Warren or something like that they want, that they hope to complete their team. And we have unfortunately, we got the trenches, safety, running back, and probably another receiver that we're probably going to need to fill. So these are the players that we can actually pick up in them later rounds with that additional help.
All right. Appreciate that, man. Dennis Moody said, hey, great job on your analysis. No, man, it's much appreciated. I appreciate you, Dennis. He says, we need to trade down, and the first 2 picks must be defense. As good as this class is, what do you think? I would have 0 problems with that, because some of the guys that I'm going to highlight here, and I've been highlighting on the show, you got your Jalen Travises of the world from Iowa State, left tackle. If you want to, get some more competition in here at tackle, you want a guard. Like, all of these guys tonight is going to kind of give you, once you do what Cornelius Squalls does, he said, the more I check out these players, the more I believe there's no way the Bears can blow this draft, because there's just too much talent in areas that we need. He's not lying. There's entirely too much talent, man. Entirely too much talent. You can't mess this up unless you got some intentional doofus about you. You got to be a doofy MFer, man. The stuff is just real easy to see, man. You can see who can play and who can't. When it comes to the character stuff and all the stuff that they do to try to really dig into it, I don't do any of that. I heard somebody mention to me that somebody said on the show that, James Pierce is lazy. Man, please. Whenever the draft comes around, there's somebody out here that's out there gonna, and I'm not saying that particular person is trying to do that, but what good does it do to repeat what somebody else has told you about somebody until you meet someone? Why? I don't know anything about no James Pierce. I appreciate it that somebody's mentioned that to me, but I think that's a little beneath the belt, man, to be calling somebody lazy and stuff, and you don't even know that individual. You don't know nothing about that guy. No matter what you might hear out there could be people that's trying to get his draft stock down, trying to get him to slide down on the board to get him, who knows what that intention is, but I just don't buy that kind of stuff. I don't like that, man. I look at the film and what they put on the field. That's it. That's what I do. All right, so what up, Jay? What up, Jay? I think y'all gonna like the show, man. We're gonna get it cracking. FFG, look, do me a favor.
Yes, sir.
Just let me roll. I will let you know, man. Just let me roll a little bit if you don't mind.
Hey, do your thing, man. I'm gonna go check on something real quick. I'll be right back.
I'll let you out, and you just, when you get back in, I see your camera on, I'll put you back on. All right. Let's get this thing cracking, man. Y'all, please hit the likes, man. Please hit the likes. All right, let's get the first guy up. Hold on a second. I ain't prepared like usual. Give me a second. First guy up is, let me see here. Overlay. All these guys are going to surprise y'all when y'all look at them on film. I'm just telling you right now, you're going to be like, there's some real studs in this draft. Real studs. This guy right here, Reuben Fatheree. Left tackle, he's right tackle out of Texas A&M. He's 6'8", 320 pounds, and he's a senior. He is what you would call your textbook tackle. He is your textbook tackle. Now, right off the top, the first thing that stands out to you about Reuben Fatheree is how athletic he is, because I keep finding these guys that have these certain, body traits, and I know they're looking for big. I know they're looking for big people that can move other big people around. And so it's easy for me to know that watching that Super Bowl and watching Philadelphia just completely obliterate the defensive front and just move people around and get what they want, pass protection wise. All this stuff is important because everybody wants to copy the winner. And so they see that big offensive line, that big heavy offensive line that was a brick wall to Kansas City, and they want to try to replicate that. And so how do you do that? You find guys like this right tackle, Reuben Fatheree out of Texas A&M. He is the textbook tackle. And I do believe 110% that he is agile and physically gifted enough that his traits translate to moving to the other side. I can't tell you that I saw that on film, saw him on the left side, but I know what I see physically and his traits and his ability. Man, this guy's got pterodactyl arms. That protects him from really being overwhelmed. Even if a guy, slightly gets away from him a little bit, like if he's dealing with a speed rush and a guy's trying to speed rush around him to try to bend that corner, those long arms that he has, man, really helps him really make up for anything he might have had a little faulty set and got his feet kind of tangled up. Those arms, every time I seen him on film, corrected him when he was wrong. And he was rarely wrong. This guy is a really agile player. And I think he's got some basketball in his background, which made a lot of sense when I was looking at him on tape. And I'm looking at this guy and I'm just like, this Reuben Fatheree guy, I don't know exactly where they're projecting him to get drafted, but I know this. You get something with these kind of traits in your building. You got the versatility to move him left or right. I don't think I wouldn't consider this guy as a piece that I would, want to try to force him to go play guard. I think he's a tackle. True and through. 110%, man. His traits are remarkable. Wait until you see how well he moves. For a guy this size, you expect a plodding guy to be a little bit slow, a little bit, slack at foot. I mean, he mirrors with the foot quickness as well as any tackle I've seen in this draft. I mean, he is going to be a real steal. And he can really get downhill on run in the run game. And when I think about, Ben Johnson and his offense and Penei Sewell on that right side and how they use Penei Sewell to really get to the second and third level to complete blocks to finish those runs, I just kept seeing this guy, man. Reuben Fatheree isn't the only one. There's going to be a few more of these guys in there that I'm going to highlight tonight that you guys need to check out. But I am telling you right now, Reuben Fatheree is a blue chip football player. Let's just start there. He's a blue chip piece. Number one, his traits are, this is exactly what you're looking for a tackle. Long arms, quick feet, great mirroring ability to be able to handle twists and stunts and be able to recover when he gets a little bit wrong. I'm telling you guys right now, this guy right here, Reuben Fatheree at Texas A&M, has everything you need as a blue chip football player. He's got all of the traits, and I'm not BSing you guys. Go check him out. Do yourself a favor. If you don't want to watch full games, I remind people all the time, go on YouTube and you go Texas A&M offense and put versus next to it. That's all you got to do, and you will get nothing but Texas O-line offensive O-line play. If that's what you want to see, don't try to watch the entire games, man, because that's going to get a little cumbersome. So I just advise y'all to do that. If you want to really check him out and see how consistent he is and what I say, and if it matches up with what you saw, go to YouTube and put that in there. Texas A&M offense versus. That's all you got to do. You get 10, 15-minute videos, sometimes 12 and beneath that. And so check him out. I'm telling you, he's a blue chip piece right here. He's a blue chip piece. Reuben Fatheree, 6'8", 320-pound senior out of Texas A&M. Straight up stud. And you ain't got to go reach to get it. All right, let's get to the next guy. Here's another one. P.J. Williams, 6'5", 318 pounds. He's a sophomore. He's a young boy. And I'm telling you, you can't look at this graphic and just know how extremely he's got some really long arms. And you just can't tell by looking at this graphic. But, oh, my God, he comes off the ball. He really comes off the ball. He plays, I believe, he's a right tackle at SMU. So most of his reps were on the right-hand side. You've seen a few reps over on the left-hand side when the other guy went down. He's also an impressive piece. I plan on doing the left tackle at SMU. They had some really good tackles down there. And this guy, extremely athletic, great lateral agility. I'll come back to that. Basketball background again. So that tends to lend towards basically when you're looking at the traits and you're looking at somebody's ability to be able to mirror, recover when they get a double move on them, those basketball traits really translate, man, because you gotta deal with people that's quicker than you, faster than you, and you got to stay in front of them when you hooping. Everybody knows that they plays basketball, but I'm telling you, this is a real serious athlete. But I do believe that people will see this athleticism and it translates perfectly to guard because he got a lot of power. He comes off that ball and he moves people. He hits them and they move. Period. He's only 318 pounds, and that's just the beginning of what you're going to get out of PJ Williams. Extremely athletic guy. Let me read some notes that I saw on film. Big and very athletic, freakishly long arms, and packs a strong punch with his hands. Man, that really stands out when you watch him on film too. Really strong, powerful hands. And his let me see. I can't even read my own writing. His first step is exceptional. Like the way he comes off the ball is very, that's going to be another thing that stands out to you. How quick he comes off the ball, that quickness. You see these big guys and you expect them to be a little bit, cumbersome. Nah, it ain't that with these guys I'm putting on the screen. These guys can really come off the ball and are freakishly athletic. He's one of them. He's going to be one of these guys you can get later on in the draft. He's going to be able to excel in any kind of run concept, whether it's wide zone, inside zone, power. That athleticism and that size and power really translates to anything you want to do. And he's pretty good in pass pro. He's a lockdown pass protector. He really is. Because of his agility and athleticism, it really projects well in any kind of concept you want to do. So if you want to look at PJ Williams at SMU, 6'5", 318 pounds, think about this when you're looking at him. How does this player translate to guard? Because it's going to be a bunch of people that's going to say, oh, he's only 6'5", we need a taller guy. I don't buy all that. He's got plenty of traits that translate to tackle too. And so you have options with this football player. He's that good of a football player and that athletic and that gifted, that fluid in his hips, that bend in his knee, that burst off the ball. All of that translates to tackle or guard. The size and the height just add to it. I mean, he is everything you want to look at as a developmental piece and bring him in the building. Say, you know what? I like what I seen on film. I like your traits. We love them. And we want you to work with Mr. Rochar. And we're going to, even if it's, I'm going to kick you, I want you to work at guard. I think this guy's the perfect kind of guy to really be athletic and get after people, man, in the run game. He's perfect, man. Whether you want to put him on the right side or the left side, keep him at tackle, kick him in and guard. This is the perfect guy to try to develop right here. Great piece to work with, man. I'm just telling you guys, I'm not blowing smoke. Go check him out. PJ Williams, tackle out of SMU. Versatile. Somebody you can probably kick in the guard if you want to. 6'5", 318-pound sophomore. He's young. Very, very young. So that's my take on him, man. You guys go check him out. JaCorey Brooks, 6'1", 190-pound senior out of Louisville. Strong hands. I mean, he's got strong hands. This guy, the minute I started watching him, I started thinking of Darnell Mooney. I just couldn't help it. Not because, I mean, the body type is there. You can obviously see he's got some traits that remind you of Darnell Mooney, but that's not all. He's got a bigger catch radius than Darnell Mooney, and Darnell Mooney, you guys can tell me if you agree or disagree. I think Darnell Mooney had a really good and a big catch radius, man. He caught balls that I didn't think he could. Was able to get up and go up for catches that I didn't think he was able to get. This guy is even longer and has even more sure hands than Darnell Mooney. But straight up playmaker, explosive playmaker with sticky hands. I mean, those hands are outstanding. JaCorey Brooks' hands are outstanding. And he's all hands. Every time you see JaCorey Brooks catch a ball, it's all hands, not that body catching stuff. He catches the ball away from him. And I was always taught that should be like one of those things you were taught early in your life, man. Really catch the ball away from your body. Hey, FFG, give me a thumbs up when you feel like you're ready to get in. All right. And so, yeah, JaCorey Brooks, he's got explosive playability after the catch. I can't say that I saw him really commit to blocking down the field. Can't say that I saw that. I can't say that I saw him not being willing to block down the field. On plays that he had to block, he blocked. You know, that's one of the things that I think is going to be important with any receiver that comes into this building. What did Ben Johnson say? Don't block, don't get no rock, or something he said to them to that effect. You better be willing to get down the field and block. But everything else, JaCorey Brooks, perfect slot receiver. Nobody's talking about out of Louisville, man. This dude is a treat to watch. I mean, he's I think the catch radius and the hands are what stands out to me. He's got the speed, he's got the quicks, he's got the yard after the catch ability. All that stuff is there. You expect out of a slot receiver, but those hands, I'm telling you, that catch radius, man, he's got some long arms on him. And he catches everything that touches those hands. Special. I think if you work with this guy, you get a Randall L around this football player, JaCorey Brooks can be a slot receiver for your team for a long time moving forward. But he ain't the only receiver we got on the board. He is not. But let's get to the next guy. Let me get to a couple of comments. I've been letting that slack. Let me see. Hold on. Get to a couple of comments up there. Let me see. Cornelius Squall says, no matter, can any of these guys be an immediate starter? I don't think I put a guy on the board yet that I don't think that could translate to a starter. Is it going to be some work to get him up to speed to play? Yeah. But I think they could either one of those, especially those guys I was talking about, the interior. Either like you could put those guys as starter, man. You put Reuben Fatheree is going to be a tackle, but we're talking about who was that? PJ Williams. PJ Williams is a starter. He could be a starting guard right now. Once you see him play, you'll see his ability definitely translates, man. He's got the power. The only thing people worry about coming from college to the NFL is, can you handle NFL power when it comes to the offensive line? Can you handle NFL defensive line power? And I think every one of these guys are built to be able to do it. I'm looking for certain traits, and every one of them have it, man. I think you can plug and play them right now. I really do. Look at some more comments.
He's just gonna have to work on his pad level.
Who?
PJ. If he works on his pad level, he could be dominant on the inside.
We could talk about that later. Let me see.
Yeah, that's the comment right there. No block, no rock. If you playing wide receiver.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the next guy. Who we got here? Let me see. Let me see. Shamar Turner.
Yep.
So everybody's so busy talking about who they think Shamar Stewart is. So you got two Shamars at Texas A&M. You got Shamar Stewart, and you got this guy on the screen, Shamar Turner. Shamar Turner is an interior. He's a defensive tackle. Shamar Stewart is labeled as an edge rusher. I'll have some more comments about Shamar Stewart a little bit later on, but let's focus on the guy we have on the screen. Shamar Turner is 6'4", 300-pound senior. Exceptional athlete with a great burst. Position versatile, and he's very disruptive. Now, you look at this guy on tape, and it's just like, because Shamar Stewart has become so popular, and he's pretty much what everybody wants to talk about right now. I heard he performed well at the combine, and everybody's just, in tights, you look really good. I have some more to say about Shamar Stewart later on, but I don't think he's the edge rusher that everybody wants him to be. I think he's a defensive tackle, just basically hiding from it for the most part. But this guy right here has got a whole lot of talent upside. He's a pure three tech. He's a pure three tech that has some position versatility. I've seen him line up at different spots, play different techniques, the 3, the 5. Didn't see him line up in any wide 9 or anything like that, but I've seen him play 3 to 5. Seen him play 3 to 5, and it was pretty impressive. I think what stands out about him is his burst. This is burst, man. And wait a minute, he's pretty much one of the most athletically gifted three techs in this draft. He's the perfect size guy and the perfect size. His point of attack strength when he comes off the ball, and he's trying to, get that thrust off the ball and hold his point of attack against the run game. You see no backing off of that. He can hold it in a double team. He can hold it, definitely pursue the ball in a one-on-one. But I'm telling you, this is probably one of the more slept on athletes at defensive tackle in this draft. This is one of the reasons why you hear a whole bunch of scouts and analysts talking about how talented this defensive tackle draft is. Just because this guy is probably not going to come off the board until probably mid to late. That's it. That's why, because a guy this talented can get drafted later on in the draft. I'm telling you, Shamar Turner has got everything you need in a 3-tech. Every single thing you need and some. And he's got nothing but upside left in his game. Shamar Turner is, if given to the right situation with the right coach, this dude can elevate and be one of the better picks in this draft. That's how high I am on his skill set. He's got everything you need to get off. Perfect. He gets off the ball and is explosive. That first step is dominant. He can shoot gaps with the best of them. And he can hold his ground and at the point of attack against the run and shed blocks well. That's the part right there I think he's going to get better at more and more. He works with professional football people. Shedding the blocks and getting to the ball. Getting the block off you and getting to the ball more and more consistently. But everything else, Shamar Turner is an absolute stud. Straight up. This is a blue chip talent that you won't have to deal with until later on in the draft. He's not going to come off that board early. But somewhere later on, the mid to later rounds of the draft, this guy's going to come off. And I'm guaranteeing you somebody got them a blue chip piece for a little or nothing in this draft as far as draft commodities go. He's a stud. I'm telling you guys, go check him out. Shamar Turner, a defensive tackle out of Texas A&M, 6'4", 300 pounds. I'm telling you, one of the more exceptional athletes at defensive tackle I've seen. Period. Matter of fact, I'll go a little bit further. I liked his game better than Walter Nolan because it was more consistent. More consistent production. Walter Nolan, that's a whole other conversation. We'll have a conversation about him. But well, let me get to the next guy. Let me get to a couple comments first. Let me see here.
Squalls is correct. Their defensive line in Texas A&M was no joke because they had athlete after athlete after athlete up and down the line.
Man, I'm telling you, man.
And they showed out constantly.
That line is loaded. I think Mississippi State had a loaded line. I think Mississippi had a loaded line. I think Florida had an extremely loaded line. Florida got some studs down there, but we'll get to those guys, man. Let me see. Foster says he's got a third round grade on Turner. You see Turner when you watch Stewart film. Agreed, no man. I'm telling you, man, people get so enamored with Shamar Stewart because of that body and that athleticism. People just get absolutely enamored with that. And you don't realize the guy playing next to him is just balling. You end up, I didn't even like Shamar Turner ended up being, I was watching Shamar Stewart film. I'm just like, hold up, man. Let me go back. And I just kept rewinding. And I just kept seeing this guy flash and flash and flash. And I'm just like, it's consistent enough for me to circle this guy. And then I just watched him, isolated, man. So Foster, third round sounds about right too, Foster. I ain't gonna lie to you. That sounds right about where I think he might get off the board. But that athleticism is special, man. Real special. All right, let's get to the next guy. We got a running back coming up, man. A running back. How about that? Corey Kiner out of Cincinnati, 5'8", 212-pound senior. Now, let me tell you what I noticed about him. He is not the fastest running back in this draft, but smooth. I mean, when I say smooth, don't let the smooth taste freaking fool you. Colt 45 smooth. And, he's just fluid and patient. He's everything, like the patience I love. And that just adds to the smooth way he just reads the block, lets the block set up, and the smooth way he attacks the creases. He has a burst when he sees it. When he sees it, he knows to hit it. Boom, he's up the field, and he's on your defense and can gash you real fast, man. And he's not I wouldn't say he's a small running back, but he's not the biggest one either. But you don't see him lack for power when you watch him play. He's not afraid to stick his nose in there in pass protection at all. At all. He will stick his nose in there. He's going to get run over several times when he gets to the next level because the linebackers are going to get way bigger. But the fact that I know that he's not scared to stick his nose in there, I definitely gave him a check by his name for that. He's a natural catcher out of the backfield. Again, he's not the fastest He's not the fastest running back you're going to see in this draft. But I don't think, when I watch these running backs, fast is a nice attribute to have. It's a lot of fast guys that don't know how to read the run setup and know how to read the block setup and be patient enough to find the crease when it's time to and hit that accelerator button and boom, you up that scene and really making the offensive line look good. No offensive lineman wants to deal with a running back that's not seeing the hole because they're fast. They think their athleticism is just going to put them over the top all the time. No, you got to be patient. The block setup is set up in a certain way so that you can exploit the running tracks. What do I mean by running tracks? So if it's in the primary hole, let's just say we're talking about wide zone right, stretch right. If the primary hole is out there at the six spot, and you're trying to bend that thing all the way outside the tackle, right? But the secondary hole is inside the left side of the right guard. How do you get to the line of scrimmage and know which one of those lanes to press? Patience and experience get you there. And so some running backs are really, really good at that. And some of them, it takes them a long time to get there. We got a running back that we're going to talk about later on in this show that perfect example of what I'm talking about. You just got to be patient and let the block set up. You kind of have to hit the gas right before the block hits. Right before the block hits. And let's just say, you seeing the guard come around and really get to that second level and hit that linebacker. Right before that guard hits that linebacker, you need to already be pressing the gas and getting on that running track to get past them. That's kind of what I'm describing. That might sound real football-y, but when you're talking about running backs, that's very important. That's very important, being patient enough. And Corey Kiner is that. He's a patient runner, very patient runner. And when he sees it, he hits it, he's going to gas you for 30 yards. He ain't going to run off and get, 70, 80-yard run. Not too often. He's going to get run down a lot of times. But he's one of those guys, along with Devin Neal, that brings a lot of value to the table just because of their patience. And offensive linemen love to block for patient running backs and know how to read the blocking assignment. So I think he's a valuable piece that you don't have to reach and go get. I don't know where he might get drafted, if he's going to get drafted. But I'm pretty sure he's one of those backs out here that's given all these analysts the reason to say, this is a deep running back class. He's one of them, man. I'm telling you, he's just not getting talked about a whole lot. Corey Kiner, 5'8", 212-pound senior out of Cincinnati. Nice piece to have. You can get later on. It has that as a depth piece to your running back room, man. I think he's a nice running back, dude. Let me get to a couple of comments here. Let me see. What we got here? Paul Rodriguez said the running back class is crazy deep. Yeah, we definitely do need a replacement for Roschon. Roschon running, all he has to do is just be a little bit more patient and just read, just have a little bit of vision. Let me see. Notorious TBG. He says, Roschon, great teammate, glue guy. But we do need a workhorse alpha back. I believe that 100%, 10% in my heart. We need a stud muffin for the most part. But let's get to the next guy.
Hey, that's why they interview Omari Hampton.
Yeah. Let's see. Now, this guy right here, Johnny Walker, defensive end out of Missouri, 6'3", 255 pounds. Now, based on what I've seen traits-wise as far as Dennis Allen's edge rushers go, made me a little bit, he's one of those guys that's been probably waiting for about 3 weeks to get on one of these shows because I had to get convicted that this guy, even though he's a little bit lighter than the standard Dennis Allen edge rusher, I know that he's got the traits. He's got the traits, man. This guy, I need to say this because Shamar Stewart is just in my head. I see so many people out here talking about Shamar Stewart. And what they don't understand when watching Shamar Stewart tape is why don't you see, after all those years in school, him have the production that he needs? He's not getting home making sacks. He's getting a lot of quarterback hurries and things like that, but he's not finishing. You know why? because he hasn't learned to do what this guy has learned to do. Johnny Walker, defensive end out of Missouri, 6'3", 255 pounds, knows how to finish. And so I'm going to describe the best way I can about an edge rusher finishing. We're going to talk about a speed rush around the bend. You watch those drills when they're running around the hula hoop thing. That's a drill. That's a real thing. And so an edge rusher, when he's attacking on a speed rush and he's trying to get around the corner, hoping that the quarterback continues to drop back and you run right into him. But it's also an assignment that you need to be skilled enough to, if that quarterback steps back up in the hole and he steps back up into the pocket, do you have a move to continue to pursue him? And so what do I mean by that? So the edge rusher, Johnny Walker, is coming off, say, the left side. He's coming around the corner. And the quarterback steps up in the pocket. At the top of his pass rush, what can you do to finish this pass rush? You bend and get underneath. At that point, if you have the flexibility to do it, you bend and get underneath and you go finish that pass rush on top of the quarterback. Some of these guys have it. Some of these guys do not. That flexibility to be able to bend, like Myles Garrett. I see people comparing Shamar Stewart to Myles Garrett. And I don't think there's a comparison. Why? It's because if you watch Myles Garrett at the top of his pass rush, on that speed pass rush that I'm describing, and you see that, okay, if that quarterback is getting away from him, he needs to bend that corner and get inside and get after to continue to pursue that guy, he can get down low, bend, and get underneath the guy and can finish that play. Shamar Stewart, I've seen one too many times not be able to finish that play. He doesn't have that flexibility yet. He just gets washed out of the play. He just runs right on by. And he's out of the play. He just stalls. This guy doesn't have that problem. Johnny Walker he's a legit edge rusher, a pass rushing specialist that is strong enough to hold it down in the run game too. I was impressed with that too. He's not where he's going to be. Looking at him right now, I see another 10 pounds on his body and getting really forceful in the run game. He can hold his own now. He can hold his own out at the point of attacking the run game. But I'm telling you, his pass rush, he is extremely disruptive. There's another guy nobody's talking about. Johnny Walker is disruptive as hell. Just telling you. Go check this guy out from Missouri, man. I didn't see anything about the guy I didn't like. I seen nothing but upside with this kid. This is one of those sleeper picks that nobody is talking about. Guarantee you, when he gets drafted, people will start talking about it. This dude right here, I think he's got the skill set to be, let's just say he started as a rookie. I think he's got the skill set to get eight sacks in a season. That's how impressed I am with his film, man. I think he's got the skill set to get you 8 sacks as a rookie. Because I think his explosion off the ball is it's overwhelming to any offensive tackle. I've seen it time and time again watching his film. His explosion off the ball, it's like I don't know the best way I can describe it. It's like if I had to imagine myself as a big offensive tackle, I'm knowing if he's setting up for a speed rush, I'm terrified because I know it's going to be very, very limited. I'm going to be very limited in what I can do about it. This guy is 9 times out of 10 going to get around me. Best thing I can do is try to wash him out, but he is going to get around me. That's how explosive Johnny Walker's burst is. And he gets there and he finishes in a real way, man. Y'all got to check him out at Missouri, man. Defensive end Johnny Walker is the truth, man. He's a little bit right there at the fringe as far as his weight, 6'3", 255 pounds, but I'm confident enough in what I saw on film to say that if he's somewhere on that board and they're, depending on how that board falls to Chicago, and they still feel like they want to add another kind of pass rush, I think they'll get a pass rusher early, but it won't surprise me if they got another one later on in the draft, and you find yourself in a position and you want to get a guy that just really, really can get after the quarterback. This would not be a bad piece. I'm telling you, maniacs. This guy, wait until you see him on film. See what I mean? And come holler at me in the comment section after the show and tell me what you thought. But Johnny Walker, 6'3", 255 pounds out of Missouri. It's a real treat to see on film. I think he's got it all. Get to a couple of comments. Any thoughts, FFG, so far?
Oh, no, I watched this tape. He's a blur. You know, I mean, for a guy that is not at a top school in the SEC, they played really well, good defense. And he is just one of them dudes, if he could be coached up, if he puts on 10, 15 pounds, he's going to be a monster and keeps that speed and that bend. So, I mean, these are all the guys that really need a little more help in coaching in the NFL, a little more weight room, some of them, but they just really need the coaching to really bring out the prowess they've already displayed. And some of them are going to be dangerous. I really believe that, because there's a lot of raw talent out there that's not being exploited enough, which is beneficial to us, because a lot of these people cats don't know about, and we might clean up in the draft and in UDFAs. Well, we can really have a team where it's going to be hard to make the team next year, where we're going to have 15, 20 linemen on each side of the ball, 8 linebackers, 12 corners and safeties. So I really think this is one of those kind of drafts that's built for what we need. And everybody talked all that smack about Ryan Poles, but here's the draft that really can bring his job into the limelight for what he already took care of. And now he can actually go build what he needs to have to start killing folks.
Watch the wording.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, here we go with the next guy. This guy right here I'm about to put on the screen. Now, I could not help. This is tight end John Copenhaver, 6'3", 240-pound senior out of North Carolina. There's another tight end at North Carolina, the bigger guy that everybody's attracted to because he's a big guy and people do what people tell them to do. You focus on this guy. This guy is a sneaky treat to watch on film. And so, I don't even need my notes for this one because I like this film this much. Watching this guy and watching how they use him, I get to thinking about Ben Johnson and his offense in Detroit and how they use their tight ends. And it's versatile. You see the traditional, I need my tight end to be an inline blocker. I need my tight end to also flex out and play some receiver. I might need a tight end that can come in the backfield and play a little fullback, a little U back. That's what they call it. Back in my days, there was a U tight end. You come in the back and you might have to block. You see him doing all of that, every last bit of it. And he is, let me tell you, number one thing that stuck out about me is how versatile he was. Second thing stuck out to me is how tough he is. He is not ducking no smoke. And he's agile as hell. You can really weaponize your you all right, man?
Oh no, I'm saying he takes some punishment. He be getting touched, but he hold on to the ball.
Well, all right. I hear you. He be getting touched up, man. But this guy right here is when you think about, you want to weaponize every single guy in your system on offense, and you just want to use every piece to its full and complete value. John Copenhaver, I just could not help but to think about the tight end at Detroit every time I watch one of his reps, because I can see him in this system playing those same reps. I can't, what is it? Sam Laporta is the name of the guy, but I just kept imagining him as Sam Laporta. I'm telling you, this was what you would see. And he's a more fluid athlete than Sam Laporta. Sure hands. They get that out the way first. He's got sure hands. He's a willing blocker. That's number 2. So get those two parts out of the way. We know he's got good hands. Trust and believe me, he'll block. He will block. In fact, that he will line up at fullback to do it. They will use him on jet sweeps. They will use him. I mean, just a plethora of ways that they use this guy. And he was second fiddle to the number 1 guy in the system. Complete steal. Versatile, dynamic. You love everything you see on film about this guy. And it's just like, I would just give you guys this advice. When you go turn on the tape of John Copenhaver, just imagine what you saw in Detroit with the tight end Sam Laporta. And I guarantee you're going to see the same exact player, just a little bit more dynamic. I'm telling you, this guy is going to be a steal. I don't know if he gets drafted, where he gets drafted at all, if he gets drafted. If he's a UDFA, I know that anybody with some real NFL chops and real football chops looking at this guy's film and say, they're going to say to themselves, this is a piece. This guy is a piece. And you can weaponize your tight end position with a guy like this. Look at 240 and you think that's the bottom line. No, he's going to end up being 245, 250 by the time it's all said and done. And probably, I mean, this guy is really impressive, man. This tight end class is probably one of the more superior ones I've seen in quite some time. You know, really, it's a really good tight end class, man. I don't think you can really go wrong. And so all the conversations about whether or not we should keep Cole Kmet, great if we keep him. But I'm one of those people that definitely I'm like Naj to a point. Naj will come in here hot about Cole Kmet, but yeah, I wouldn't have no problem if they let him go. Why? Because I see the talent in this draft. And this guy is one of them, man. You just got to look at the film and imagine what you see Ben Johnson doing with him. Just imagine. Just watch how versatile he is, and you're going to see what I mean. I don't think he has really a strong shortcoming, really at all. I just could not find it. There was nothing about the guy that I didn't like. One of the special treats about John Copenhaver that I seen was how agile he was once he caught the ball. His catch after the run, I think, is really special. How he just go watch the film. If you watch highlights, that's good enough for me, but just check him out. I'm telling you. And he's going to be one of those steals later on in the draft or after the draft that people are going to be like, wow, they got him there. Yeah. Weaponize your tight end position, man. This is one of the guys you can do it with. Tight end, John Copenhaver, 6'3", 240-pound senior out of North Carolina. He's a treat to watch on film, y'all. Just want you to know.
Very agile.
A couple of times. What's up, Marlon? I'm going to get to as many comments as I can, man. He said, it's cringy. He says, wait, you don't like Kmet bit? Like, nah, man, it's like, no, you know what it is, Crimson? It's we as fans, and I have to say that I'm particular about certain players myself. We fall in love with our guys. And we can't, like, you couldn't imagine having this conversation about we might move on from Tevin Jenkins a year ago or 2 years ago. Man, Tevin Jenkins was one of the favorite. I would say Tevin Jenkins, outside of Justin Fields, was the favorite football player in Chicago. Like, you couldn't even fathom having that conversation with people because people would try to rip your damn head off about it. They love Tev. I still love Tev. But I think people are resigned to the point to where, okay, we can do all right with or without Tevin. I think people are resigned to that now. Cole Kmet, I don't think we're there yet because I think people are still in love with the player and they can't imagine a football team right now after seeing him for 4 years, a team without Cole Kmet because he still has a lot of capabilities. But the truth is, what if you can trade him and get some extra draft capital for him? I mean, you got to think about it all. Tight end from Notre Dame is a stud, man. That's a big, thick, strong. He's strong, but there's other ones like that guy Caden Priestcorn I showed you out of Ole Miss. Some big dudes, some real big dudes. All right, let's get to another guy because we ain't even halfway through this thing yet. Let's get to another guy. This guy right here. Now, see, before I get into descriptions about this guy, let me say this. Iowa plays mostly zone coverage. Dennis Allen runs mostly press man coverage, sticky man coverage, and you got to travel down the field with whether it's a tight end, whether it's a running back, slot receiver, and Sebastian Castro, safety out of Iowa, 5'11", 202 pounds, is a pure box safety. He's like having another linebacker, but as a safety. He's a box guy. He is going to give you most of your production like in that 10, 15-yard radius in that box. And so as a man cover, I'm not going to say he's lacking. I'm just going to say that there are a lot better man cover safeties out there than Sebastian Castro. But I'm telling you, the tone that this guy sets on the field physically is different. It's just different. And he will knock the living snot out of you, man. Sebastian Castro will knock your D-string loose. Anybody that knows football knows what I'm talking about. He will knock that thing loose. You're looking for somebody that sets a tone and wants to give your defense a personality. You start with guys like this, man. This guy is a tone setter in your secondary. He just punishes guys. And that's not the only thing. The physical aspects about Sebastian Castro is that's like the surface stuff you see. But when you look at the game, when you look at his game and kind of, really, really put the microscope to it, one thing you notice about him is he's got great football IQ. And I know people use that very, very generously, man. But what I mean by that is play recognition is one thing, but play recognition at the exact same time when you trigger to the play. And so let's just say he's sitting, in a cover 2, and he's sitting in his bubble, and he's watching the play develop. And you're watching and you're thinking what's about to happen. And you feeling like you're confident in what's about to happen in front of you. And so you got people out there that will second guess that, and you got people that will act on it. Sebastian Castro is really, really confident and acts on it, and he triggers to that play. I mean, like in lightning speed, and he makes play after play after play. Just by the fact that he's sure about what he's seeing and he's confident and makes a play on the ball. He pick 6. You see a couple of those on film. But I am telling you, his play IQ is why I probably had to single him out and say, you know what? Even if Dennis Allen was looking at this guy and saying, and I think he was here for a 30 visit? I believe he was. Not a 30 visit, but he was one of the guys in the combine meetings. But it's not hard to tell when you look at this guy on film. It's like I don't want to be the guy that missed on Sebastian Castro. You know what I mean? And that physical style that he plays with is really what makes him stick out. But I'm telling you, that football IQ and that field awareness, that spatial recognition, knowing when you can break on a play and make a play on it, that kind of thing is like, I heard a couple of guys being asked that, when you're evaluating players, what's the hardest position to evaluate? And I kept hearing safety. And I'm just like, nah, not for me. I guess because I'm a DB, because I know exactly how these guys are supposed to play in these different coverages. It's just about how fast does the information compute in his head, and how fast he can trigger on that information in a blip. And so you can have, let me finish this. So you can have really good range. You can have really good tackling ability. You have really good coverage ability, but when you're playing in space, and how fast the information transmits in your head, and how fast you can get from A to B and on that play, that makes all the difference in the world. And I know that they're sitting and looking at his film and saying to themselves, this guy is, he plays mostly zone, but I think we can do something with him in Chicago. But I'm telling you, Sebastian Castro, safety, 5'11", 202-pound senior, he's going to be a treat to watch on film. I guarantee y'all that. That's my take on Sebastian Castro. But go ahead.
Real quick, who he reminds me of 15 yards from line of scrimmage and in? Polamalu. Yep, that's exactly what it reminds me of. Seriously, the way he diagnoses the play, the way he goes in. Wow, go Blue. Thank you, sir.
Shout out to Go Blue, man. Shout out. You know what? I don't know why Go Blue gave us this generous super chat, but it feels good after all this work and being able to present these guys and describe these guys on the show. Hopefully he did that because he feels like, you know what, man, they on point on this thing, man. I don't know. But thank you for being so generous, man. We needed that, man. We really did, man, because all the work feels like it's worth it when you see somebody be that generous in a chat, man. So thank you so much, Go Blue. I appreciate that, man.
Big up.
Really
thank you so much. Yeah,
you our dog too, man. You our dog. But go ahead, finish what you wanted to say about him.
No, his read and recognition and his speed to the ball and the way he brings the thunder is tremendous. And not just on pass plays, but the run, he comes off the edge as on blitzes. I mean, he diagnoses everything quickly, and he's demonstrative when he's attacking. And that's what you want. You want somebody to lay somebody out. That's the man you want up front. And he doesn't tackle with his head down. Unfortunately, I feel bad The man, he might take his job if he ever get a chance to play. Because Brisker might be in trouble if we actually pick him up in the late rounds or even as a UDFA.
I'm like, I was watching. I've watched enough Sebastian Castro film to be like, man, I think this cat's crazy. Because he's only 202 pounds, man. It's like, but he plays like a linebacker. I mean, he has got form tackler. Now he tackles and hits the right way. Now I would say that the way he tackles and form tackles is the right way to be. And that's one of the things that kind of reassures me about if they moved on a guy like him, is that he's a great form tackler and he's a finisher. And he leads with his head, but more head and shoulder. And so it's not like the first thing that hits you is not going to be his head. You know what I mean? He's not a headhunter that way. His form tackling and the good coaching that I know that they do in Iowa is excited as people were about the guy that they got out of Philadelphia, that draft pick that they got. He ended up being a slot corner. You know, I forget his name right now, but I knew he was tough. What's his name? Cooper
DeJean.
Cooper DeJean. I feel the same way about this guy, but just he plays a different position. This guy you don't want to miss on this guy. This guy can be a game changer. And why I'm so attracted to him is his football IQ, but more importantly, you're trying to put a bunch of guys together that can really set the tone on every level of your defense. And this guy will absolutely set the tone. Sebastian Castro is a difference maker out there. He doesn't have the body type that's going to wow you. He's not hella muscular on the upper or the lower part of his body. You'd be like, man, he's not even an athlete. But what he can bring you is playmaking ability and some physical toughness that you really want. You want to replace a physically tough guy? Go get another physically tough guy. What?
Crimson, you dig? He said, made some buffalo chicken wraps. It was good, but I need to work on my breading still. Y'all start bringing it back to food. Y'all going to get us way off track.
Yeah.
Trying to eat while y'all on the show.
Appreciate you one more time, Go Blue. We really appreciated that. Victor Perez said he'd be a great backup or competition to Brisker. Hell yeah. Mr. Charles tearing off that catfish and shit.
These cats always.
It's like he knows coming into the show. I be hungry every time I do one of these shows, man. Yeah, Mr. Charles, man, quit doing that shit to me, man. All right, here we go. Let's get the next guy.
On Super Bowl commercials. Stop it.
Let's get the next guy. Here's a treat. I'm going to tell y'all right now, it's going to be a treat when you go watching. Defensive end Jasheen Davis out of Wake Forest. 6'3", 270 pounds. I know he's a fit. Because I kept seeing Cam Jordan when I'm watching this kid. He's got longer arms than Cam Jordan. That's one of the features that stands out to about Jasheen Davis is the long arms. And so when we're having conversations about, he's a complete 4-3 edge. There's no real weaknesses to his game, none whatsoever. He can play with the power at the point of attack. He can set that edge, and he can get after the quarterback and finish. That's the key to what some of these guys I'm talking about today is finish. He can get there and finish. He's going to definitely overwhelm you with speed to power. The speed to power is going to be frightening when you're looking at the film. It's just like he can line up on the inside playing 3-tech and take a guard at 270 pounds. 300-plus pound guard and drive him completely into the quarterback. The superpower is his lower body, bro. His lower body is – hold on. I'm going to bring you down for a second, and I'll bring you back in a minute. All right, his lower body is really, really special to me. I mean, that power in his lower body is just really special. Let me read off the notes I got for him. He's a prototypical 4-3 edge with a big upside. Motor runs hot. You circle that when you go watch the film. Jasheen Davis's motor runs hot. He's there for the whole 60 minutes. He's there, and he's not going to slow down the entire 60 minutes. Hot running motor. That's important to remember. Point of attack, powerful. Long arms, great finisher in the pass rush. Again, speed to power, I think, is the thing I think you're going to remember about him is the speed to power is pretty damn overwhelming. This guy you won't have to reach for. but equally as talented as a lot of these pass rushers in the draft. I get it that most people get enamored by those guys at the very top of the draft board that everybody's talking about, but it's these guys down here at the mid to lower end of the spectrum that nobody's talking about that you need to pay more attention to. Jasheen Davis is one of them. I am telling you, he's the prototype for a 4'3" Dennis Allen edge rusher. 6'3", 270 pounds, he's got it all. Long arms that can line up on the inside and be powerful. He's everything, and he's got a hell of a first step. Holy crap. Holy crap. This is one of the treats I've seen so far watching these edge rushers. It's like, who shows up on the radar next? I'll pull up a name and I start watching. And this guy right here is a treat. It's a treat. And so if you ask me, Nomad, do we need to get an edge rusher early? So it'd be nice if we got an edge rusher early. Do we have to? Nah. Nope. It'd be nice if we got Landon Jackson, JT Tuiamolao. Be nice if we got one of those guys, but we don't have to go reach to get him. And if you want to get another pass rusher to add to the pass rusher you drafted early, you can do that. This is one of those guys. And I look at a Dennis Allen defense, Jasheen Davis is a seamless fit to me. He's like a longer, probably a more, let's just say, his motor runs hotter than even Cam Jordan. And I love Cam Jordan's motor. His motor runs hotter than Cam Jordan. This guy is guaranteed to be attractive and on the Chicago Bears draft board. I guarantee you that. It's about whether they pick him up, when, and where. But I'm telling you, he's going to be a treat to watch on film. All right, let me get to a couple of comments. Anything?
Not what I can see. I just think a lot of people think that we're probably going to get more than one edge rusher in this draft. This kid would be an excellent complement to if you do draft somebody in the second round. This kid would be the backup to either Montez or, it's really going to be a battle who's going to be that fourth.
Can I answer Go Blue real quick and you can finish? Go Blue wants to know, is that guy from Marshall really as good as they say? Oh, hell yeah, he's a truth. But he's a pure pass rusher. He's not a 4'3" hand in the dirt edge rusher. Not yet. He's not that yet. He's just a pure pass rusher. And if you need, he's more of a 3-4 pass rusher and linebacker type than an edge rusher in a 4-3 defense. And unfortunately, as much as I would love to have this guy on the team, only way he gets on this team is he comes as a specialist, and they already drafted a 4-3 prototype edge. But go ahead, FFG.
I wanted to respond to that. He's more like the guy that out of Penn State last year that was drafted by Minnesota. He's more one of them dudes, just hungry, just get up and go and attack the quarterback. If you're not putting him in on the rundowns, he's more of a stand-up. I need to take off and just beat you with pure power and speed, because he's not a complete defensive end, and that's not what Dennis Allen is looking for, unless you're putting him in on a turbo package or something like that. But he's got game, but he switched positions in college, so he's only been an edge rusher for one season.
Hey, you know what, Marlon? I'm glad you asked me that question, because I think it's a lot of people talking about the guy. I can't think of his name right. I almost said Caleb Downs, but that's in Ohio State. The Oklahoma line free safety is a monster. He's a monster. That's what I think about the safety from Oklahoma. He's a straight up monster. But there's so many other sleeper guys. I think I'm probably one of them people that bends towards, trying to find the guys that ain't nobody talking about rather than the guys that everybody are talking about. And he just falls into that category. And I'm just like, I know people are talking about him. Let me raise our value over here and find some guys. Yeah, Bowman. That motherfucker's a dog. He's a dog. So if you want to know the truth about that, he's a straight up dog, top 3 safety in this draft. Period. He's a dog. He's a monster. Billy Bowman, that's right. Billy Bowman. Maybe I should do it, man, because I don't really see too many people talking about him when it comes to safeties, but he's a dog. Absolute monster.
Thank you, Marlon.
Yep. Shout out to you for that one. All right, let's get to another guy right quick. Let me see here. Oh, this is personal privilege here for the cornerback of the Nomad Network. I got to get a cornerback in here, even though I know that there's a slight chance that we draft a cornerback. And if we get one, it's going to be 6th, 7th round. It might be after the draft. We might bring a guy in here and, as a UDFA, but to prioritize corners, if you notice, I haven't been doing a whole lot of that in these shows, but I gotta get on my soapbox right now because this is the best cornerback in this draft. And the closest thing to it, in my opinion, is Lamarion James as a man-to-man corner. And I think his name is a DJ something out of Michigan. He's decent. But I'm telling you, this is going to be the lockdown, shut your ass up. Don't say nothing else because I just tore you off. This dude is the truth. Azareye'h Thomas is the truth. I've seen enough. And I think just his size and his length, those are traits that you just can't erase, man. It is special. It is absolutely special. And, when you plan so why he's attractive to me is because I know what kind of defense that Dennis Allen wants to run. He's going to really put pressure on the cornerbacks to cover man-to-man down the field, and it's going to be a lot of one-on-one. Jalen Johnson's going to be running around a lot. Tyreek Stevenson, Terrell Smith, they're going to be doing a lot of running around, chasing. Because this guy right here, now I'm going to get real cornerbacky when I say this. I think what makes a cornerback elite are a couple of things, 2 or 3 things. Number one is how good is your foot quickness? Do you have the foot speed to be able to match anything going on in front of you? Can you mirror the route concepts, route recognition? Can you mirror them with your foot speed? Number one, you got to be fluid around your waist. You got to be able to move left, right. You got to be able to be fluid around your waist. But the number one thing playing cornerback that people don't talk about much is transition. How well do you transition? You might have to transition maybe 2 times in a route concept. And so a guy might give you one move. You might transition on that. Can you recover from it? Transition. Then he gets to the second moves and gives you another route to maybe finish. The really, really good ones, like Keenan Allen, can give you 3. And can you mirror and transition your hips and your waist to whatever that you see in front of them? This guy right here is your Patrick Surtain. You want to shut it down on one side of the ball, this guy will get it done. He's a freak of nature. He's one of the best cornerbacks I've seen in a long time. And I've seen Patrick Surtain. I've seen some of the other guys that have come out, man. There's been a few guys that come out. This guy is on that I forget the other cornerback's name that came out of Florida State. He's been playing in Miami for the last couple of years. I don't know why I don't know his name because he talks too much. But he is this level. He is that level. He's that guy. He's that guy. He's the best cornerback in this draft. And I'll fight somebody about that. That's how much I think of him. Don't know where he's going. I think he's coming. He'll be off the board before. I would just imagine if he lasts to the end of the first round, I'd be amazed. I'd be amazed because he's that good. Really, really. I had a bunch of notes to say about this guy, but really I just put him up here to really embellish at the position, man. I really think, at this position, it's a certain skill set you got to have. You got to have a lot of confidence. And he is action-packed with that. He's got nothing but confidence. He's going to have a short memory and going to forget about anything that happened to play before because he knows athletically, he's more dominant than the person in front of him. This guy is going to be a stud. And we're going to be talking about him for years to come, man. He's going to make millions of dollars in this league. I'm just telling you right now, this is the best cornerback in the draft, hands down. Love Lamarion James. I think he's the best just as a pure man corner. I think he's the best at that. As all around, willing tackler, playing zone, press coverage, Azareye'h Thomas is the complete deal. He is the complete cornerback in this draft. And I don't give a shit about that cornerback from Michigan. He's tough. But I'm telling you right now, this is the best one in the draft, period. get to a couple of comments. Let me see. Victor Perez says football is an elaborate scheme to make you eat more food. Hey, Crimson says he hopes we take a Jalen Ramsey. That's exactly what I was thinking about, Dodgy. Thank you for that. He's right there. He's right there. He might have better foot speed and transition ability than Jalen Ramsey. And I think highly of Jalen Ramsey. I'm telling you, this guy is a treat. If you know how to watch and really evaluate a corner, it ain't gonna take you long. This guy's a truth. Let me see. Talking is part of playing deep. I wasn't that much of a talker on the field unless you said some shit to me. I just played. I was aggressive and I just played, but I wasn't too much talking. If you start talking shit to me or said something to me before the game or about something before the game, you was talking shit before the game, I might do something. I might do something and say something, but it ain't gonna be no ongoing thing. I'm concentrating. Marlon Johnson says it. So if we trade him back, who do you hope we take? That is such a conundrum when people ask me that, because I want to look at the board. I want to see who's there. And once I see who's there, and once I trade back, if it's me, I trade back and see who's on the board and see who falls where. It's so many guys to pick from. It's so many guys. And if they do what they need to do in free agency, Marlon, hopefully we won't have to draft for need. You know what I mean? We won't have to draft for need. We plugged the holes up already, and we did what we need to do in free agency. We got a kind of a jump on how we improve our roster and give them a level up. You took care of that in free agency. That's what I just assume is being done. So once we get to the draft and you're at 10 and you have the option to trade back, you really want to look at the most talented player on that board. You really do. Who could change a game for you? That's where I hope they end up at, Marlon, in this draft, is they're in a position they can grab a guy that can really flip the field and turn things around for them, an impact player. It might not be an impact player. It could be one of those lockdown guys in the trenches. You might draft a starting tackle. You know, you might. You just never know where they go. It's probably going to be, if they draft early, it's probably going to be an edge rusher. That's what I believe. So if you got me with some truth serum in me, it'll probably come down to either JT Tuiamola. He probably had the worst senior season that you can imagine, because he played on a bum ankle. His ankle was messed up all season. Otherwise, the way we're talking about Landon Jackson, we'll be talking about JT. He had a bad ankle the entire season, and he didn't put the production up that you normally see from him. But if it's up to me, looking at this 4-3 defense, I'm going to draft defense first, and I'm going to get one of those edges. If it's not JT, if I'm not good with his medicals, it's going to be Landon Jackson. I think either one of those guys is a difference maker, but I lean more towards Landon Jackson right about now, man. That dude he's a freak of nature right now. But we've been talking about that for some time. All right, let's get to, let me see. Foster says half a chicken breast and a baked potato. That's good, healthy eating, bro. All right. Let me get to some more players, man. Where are we at? Now, you're talking about, like, this guy. You know, we from Illinois, and we know about Illinois football. We know all about these guys, man. And this is one of the guys that ain't getting talked about much at all. But I'm telling you, the production is really, really, really solid. I think at Illinois, I think he got lost up in translation, man, because that's a running team that wants to really, really emphasize the run game. That's what Brett Bielema does. And, you know, off of the run game, you want to get your play action. This guy right here, Pat Bryant, 6'2", 208-pound senior out of Illinois, will route your ass up. He will route you up, number one. Number two, he's a playmaker. And I think the thing that sticks out to me about, I just keep thinking about, what's his name? Stephon Diggs when I watch him play. He's just a playmaker. Sticky hands. Just really, I mean, you get to watching certain details about this guy, and he's professional. you could tell that who he works out with in the off season is really, really helping him hone his professionalism. He just really helping him hone his skill set. And the route running sticks out. The hands and being able to get yourself open in pressurized moments when the game is on the line. Being a willing blocker, being a complete receiver. All of these things stick out to me. And he's big and he's physical. All those things combined, you look at Pat Bryant, and I dare anybody to look at Pat Bryant on film and tell me, okay, the only thing I can tell you that people might come back and say, okay, no man, he's not that fast, but he's got deceptive speed. He's got in-game speed. I imagine if he was down in Indianapolis and ran the 40, he'd probably run like a 4.6, 4.5, 4.6. But that would not deter me from drafting this kid because I know a playmaker when I see one. This guy's Pat Bryant's a pure playmaker. In the most pressurized moments, he is going to find a way to make the play. Just get it to him. 50-50 ball. Excellent. 9 times out of 10, he's going to come down with that rock if it touches his hands. 9 times out of 10, he's coming down with it. In the middle of the field, where a lot of people who really scout these football players don't pay enough attention to, is what does your route tree look like? How competent are you in the middle of the field when you're going to get the hell knocked out of you? He's got it all. And he's going to be the quarterback's best friend because he's reliable, especially for a young quarterback. This is the kind of guy you want on your team if you're going to be without a Keenan Allen, somebody that can route you up, somebody that can get open and be clutch in pressurized moments. If you're going to lose a older Keenan Allen, get you a younger one. In Pat Bryant, I see a mixture of Keenan Allen and a mixture of what's his name? I just said his name a few seconds ago. I got all these damn names in my head. I'm having a brain fart. But the guy that's playing with the Texans right now that was with Buffalo. Stephon Diggs. There we go. So many damn names in my head. Look at me having brain farts. But I think he's a complete deal, man. He's insurance for a young quarterback that needs a guy to trust, that I know if I throw this ball towards him, he'll find a way to come down with it and make a play. That's what he is. Pat Bryant is a playmaker. Pat Bryant, receiver out of Illinois, 6'2", 208-pound senior. Playmaker du jour. I love everything about this football player, and I'm not being a homer about it. If he was playing at South Florida, I'd still be over the moon about him, but I just love his production. When it counts, that's, when the game is pressurized, what do you do then? Do you show up, or do you slink somewhere in the shadow? This guy shows up in a big-ass way. Love me some Pat Bryant. Love to see him in a Chicago Bears uniform. It would be perfect for me. But that's it on Pat Bryant. We get to a couple of comments.
Wait, hold on. Can I go in?
Go for it.
This is my dude. This is my dude. Love this cat. I mean, he is the prototypical wide receiver that you want. It's just Illinois didn't pass the ball enough for him to be in the top 10 and receivers in the country, because he has every facet of the game that you want. He's great in the clutch, great hands, blocks. He gets downfield, can catch everything on anybody, and doesn't go down right away. That's one thing I love about Pat Bryant. He ain't catching the ball and falling just because you on his hip. He's fighting for every yard. I love this kid, and he's actually, what Nomad just said, because he stole my line, he could be the replacement right now, and we can let old man Weather go, because Keenan Allen is past his prime, but this kid is the young Keenan Allen who's already polished. Just like how Rome Odunze came in the league, people were enamored at him. This kid is the real deal. And them three, with DJ being the alpha, you wouldn't know who to guard. With Cole Kmet and the running game that we're going to build in the offensive line, and whoever we get at the tight end too, our offense will be devastating if we do this. And he's not going to be a first, second, or third round pick. He's probably going to be a fourth or fifth round pick because of the system the team ran, but he's a consummate wide receiver that you want, and he can run every single route on the tree and does it with precision. And that's what I love about this kid. He just didn't get profiled because we didn't have a great quarterback and in a great system.
Well, Stephen Boswell says, fun tape on all these guys. Hadn't heard about any of them. We do this stuff specifically for people like you, Stephen. For people like you that don't, you could be having life going on. You don't have the time to dig into all these prospects, but you're interested in them and you want to know about them. And so, for everybody that's like that and living life and, you don't have time to put the time into, these prospects, that's why we do it. That's why we do it. And like I was telling these guys earlier, when you get to a point where you're up at 6 a.m, you're a little burnt out and you're just trying to finish what you were doing, you question what the hell you're doing it for. But then when I see comments like this reminds me, and I always lean back to the people that support the channel and the people that's really, really rocking with us and really like what we do. This is what always gets me over the top, Stephen. A comment just like this. Just like this. This is what it's all about, the community of people, because you got people from all different, ways of life and background, and the lifestyle is different. Everybody's not me. Everybody's not FFG. You know what I mean? People are out here doing different things, and they want to know about this stuff. And so that's why we do it, man, for people like you. Great due diligence comes from hard work, man. And, hope you guys enjoy it, man, because we're not done yet. We got some more to go. We got some more. Check this out. Let me see who we do. Pat Bryant, another receiver. I went on receivers a little bit because ain't nobody talking about my boy down in Tennessee, Dante Thornton. If you look at box numbers and analytics and metrics and all the stuff that people like, Dante Thornton ain't going to show up on your radar. Nowhere. If you're looking at who the top receivers are in this draft and the box scores on how many yards he got, how many touchdowns he got, all that kind of stuff that people see at the very top end, the really typical stuff that people look at, but don't really understand. You got to go look at some film. They will trick you into believing that there are not really explosive receivers. This guy is a complete, absolute TNT bomb. Dante Thornton out of Tennessee, 6'5", 214 pounds, is a freak. Straight up. At this size, this weight, he shouldn't be. He's right there, probably 1B or C next to who I think is the most explosive athlete in this draft. And I'll argue with Savion Williams, but he's right there in that category, just a little beneath him, because Savion just a little bit more powerful than this guy. But this dude is a straight up playmaker. He will hurt you in the middle of the field. And the truth about him is you can get the ball in his hands on time and get him his base. Like you look at him play, you won't see a whole lot of 6'5", because he plays low. He plays with his hips low, and he's really explosive once he touches the ball. And so what does that mean? He doesn't play high. Typically guys that play high that are really tall, they probably have slower. They get from 0 to 10 a little bit slower than the guy that plays with the crouch stance, if that makes sense to you. So this guy, he catches the ball and he immediately sits down and turns into a running back at 6'5". Impressive stuff to look at. He's always the most scary. He's always the scariest guy to deal with as a DB because, you can deal with a big, tall guy. You just got to know it's going to probably be a 50-50 ball that's going to come at you. You're going to have to get up and go get that. Now, this guy, he's going to come down with a lot of 50-50 ball, but that run after catch explosion that he puts on display. He's like looking at, this is basically what I see when I look at him on film. And I'm thinking about Ben Johnson and what Ben Johnson is looking for. He's looking for that Jameson Williams. And this is Jameson Williams on steroids, man. Straight up. This is Jameson Williams on steroids. Jameson Williams wish he was this big, this strong, this fast. Well, he is as fast, but he's everything Jameson Williams is, but a lot bigger and strong. Absolute treat to watch. He can tear you up in the middle of the field. He can take the top off of any defense. Explosion waiting to happen. I don't know where he's projected to be drafted. I don't care. All I know is if Ben Johnson is looking for that guy to be that Jameson Williams kind of factor. You can put him anywhere and line him up, whether it's a reverse, whether it's a take the top off the defense, catch and run situations. This guy is perfect. He's one of several, and I don't know that the receiver class is getting the respect that it deserves. But this is an explosive receiver class, very explosive. And wide receiver Dante Thornton out of Tennessee is just one of them, 6'5", 214 pounds, straight up asset. Straight up asset. When you start thinking about what Jameson Williams does in Detroit, when you watch this film, I guarantee you remember something I said to you about that. I'm telling you, he's a stud.
Hey, yes, sir. If we don't get Pat Bryant, I want this kid because he's devastatingly fast and great hands, catch the ball in space. And when he does, it's over. I saw him get caught once on the highlight. Even the tape I watched, unless it was to the outside or something like that. But if he caught the ball anywhere close inside the hashes, it was over for everybody by 4 or 5 yards. This kid is devastatingly fast. And his control balance, once he catches the ball, like nobody said, he's a running back once he catches the ball because he plays low, but when he catches it, that's when his speed picks up. And when he turns up, like Eric Dickerson, you're done. That's when he gets in sprinter mode and everybody else can kiss it goodbye. You coming in second in the Olympics. Straight up. That's how bad this kid is. And if there's an offensive guru that can actually benefit from his ability, because you get to think about it, you're going to have a quality wide receiver in DJ that can do everything. You're going to have Rome that you can move around and be a consummate wide receiver, deep threat, 50-50 ball. This kid not only can catch 50-50 balls, but once he catches it in space, it's ridiculously over because he is that good at making people miss. And then when he gets that, any lane he gets, you can't catch him. And that's one thing that we didn't have that Tyler Scott can't provide because of his size. And it is going to be amazing to see whoever drafts this kid, how much, like people were talking about, what's the kid's name in Kansas City that caught all them passes in the Super Bowl?
Xavier Worthy. Right. Just imagine this kid is 6'5", that runs not as fast, but damn near close to it, and can catch all them balls over people and around people because he's a great route runner. He's like Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Victor Perez says he's like Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I think he's like Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I don't want to take anything away from him, but I think this guy's like your Neiman Marcus, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. And Marquez Valdez-Scantling is like in the dollar store. He's got some really sure hands. This kid, Thornton's got some really sure hands and a great catch radius. And so does Scantling. His hands got more consistent as he played over the years in the NFL, talking about Marquise. I think this guy's
off from Aaron Rodgers.
This guy's a stud.
Off from Aaron Rodgers most of his career. Yeah. This kid's catching the ball and that crazy offense that Tennessee runs where he wasn't getting the production because they didn't pass the ball enough. He only had 26 catches, 6 touchdowns, and average over 25 yards. Just imagine if they had accentuated this kid in their part of their offense. He'd have been devastated. It's same thing as Pat Bryant. He just didn't use enough. Wait till somebody actually takes advantage of this kid and makes him a valuable part of the offense.
Take some notes, man. Take some notes. I know you got a lot to say, bro. I know you got a lot to say, but let me get through these guys, and when we get to the butt end of this thing, you can, expound on some of the stuff we've been talking about. But let me get to the next guy, and that is Cam Horsley, another sleeper in the draft, defensive tackle out of Boston College, 6'4", 306 pounds. This guy is another one, man. You talking about later round, mid to late round opportunities to really thicken up the depth in your room and that defensive line. This guy is not only going to help you provide that. He is also position versatile at 306 pounds. Believe it or not, look at his body. You can see how lean he is. He's pretty lean. He's pretty lean, and he can give you some edge rusher reps. I've seen him do it a couple of times. I ain't going to say I've seen a plethora of edge rusher reps with Cam Horsley. But what stands out about him is his speed off the ball, the quickness off the ball, the power at the point of attack. He can really, really hold his own in the middle of that defense. As 3-tech at nose, I mean, he is really strong at the point of attack. Against double teams, great resistance. One-on-ones, he's typically going to beat those and throw you out of the way. He's got a real, I think the play strength is really what stands out to me when you watch him on film. Cam Horsley is, he's strong as a horse. I know I'm not trying to be funny there, but he is very, very strong at the point of attack. And I think that's the thing that stands out to me is you when you're running a defense and you're trying to plug up the run, that's one of the things that you're really trying to focus on. You need to find guys with really good play strength. At 306 pounds, he's like, oh, okay, no, man, he ain't that big, man, but he plays a lot bigger than the number here suggests. I mean, he's got some really, really great characteristics about him, and he really doesn't have, as far as a defensive tackle go, I wouldn't say that he's a great pass rusher from the interior. I would just mark that as a no. He's not there yet, but everything else that you need from an interior defensive tackle, I'm not saying that he can't get up the field and attack and get downfield. He can, but that's not his strength. His strength is really fortifying that and just giving you a force up front to really make it hard to run against. And I think that's something we sorely need. We need a plethora of guys that can come in here and give you similar reps and be really forceful against the run. His play strength, burst off the ball, and his power to be able to shed blocks is just really outstanding to me. I thought it was a little bit different than a lot of guys I've seen in this draft. I think he kind of stands out in the upper echelon of the defensive tackles I've seen. Cam Horsley, by the way, is from BC, 6'4", 306 pounds. Any words on him, FFG?
Oh, my God. His tape just jumps off the screen. Victor, this is for you. You think he can't play against the run? He takes on double teams, still gets in the backfield, and shuts down the holes. This kid, if somebody gives him a chance, like when last year when we had Billings go down, this kid would have came in and been no joke because he is what they tried to do with
he's not going to play nose like Billings did. He's not that strong.
No, but he can handle a double team. And so that's what they were trying to do with what you call it out of South Carolina, that he wasn't able to hold his ground. And this kid holds his ground extremely well for what I've seen on tape. And I'm impressed with his ability to get penetration because he gets upfield in a hurry. And this is another sleeper dude that could possibly be a starter depending on the team that he goes to and the coaching he gets. He's one of them sneaky late round picks that can actually benefit a team, even if it's in rotation, that can keep your team on the field in the fourth quarter and shut down a team trying to run the clock out or having to pass, and now he can just wreak havoc.
All right,
and allow your pass rushers to go crazy.
All right, let's get to the next guy. We can expound on him a little bit later. We already run it a little too long, but we'll be all right. Let's get to some more fat boys. And this guy ain't so fat. This is John Williams. He's 6'5", 320-pound senior out of Cincinnati. He's a tackle that I think is going to be one of those guys you might want to circle and say, he's got great skill set when it comes to being a tackle. He's missing nothing really, but I think it's going to be a bunch of people that like to be really penny ante about things and be like, oh, he doesn't have great arm length. He's not going to be a tackle. All those type of people that know everything but don't know shit. All those people in the world, you know what I mean? But I think if you're in a situation where you solidify that tackle, and you really looking at some prospects that you can get. Again, remember what I said at the very beginning of the show. Being in a position where you can spot the traits, acknowledge them, be confident in them, and just know that, you know what, just have some conviction. I'm going to bring this guy in, and my initial mindset is I want to play him at guard. What kind of skill set does he have that really stands out? Number one, the first thing you're going to see when you look at him, he's going to be the left tackle at Cincinnati, by the way. And he's going to be right there, right away, you're going to see how quick and nimble. That's one of the things I've been looking for when it comes to some of these guys. You know, all these guys can't get drafted early. All these guys can't get drafted in the second, third round. It's going to be some guys that this talent in this draft, and, you know, you hear people talking about this. This isn't a very talented offensive line class. I don't know who the fuck started that, but they full of shit, and they don't know what they're looking at. And whoever started it, and everybody keeps repeating it, is really irritating because I see talent like this with these high-end blue chip traits. 6'5", 320 pounds as a starting left tackle. That's a great trait. This guy's athleticism is off the chain. Again, another one of those guys I think has a basketball background. Really good with his feet and can mirror very well. Very, very well. But I do believe they play a lot of wide zone run game techniques in Cincinnati, which really translates well to what Ben Johnson wants to do. And so whatever he does, you want to really feature his power and his athleticism to get downfield and get to the second level and just really attack the defense instead of letting the defense come to you. This guy is absolutely powerful. He's absolutely quick, nimble. And I think that's the John Williams, when I look at him, I think the takeaway is his athleticism at this size is incredible. I'm telling you, you watch this guy play, and you just can't imagine 320-pound guys be able to move like this. I'm telling you, it is a treat to watch some of these guys. This big dude, he's not a fat, plodding guy. These guys are different now, guys. John Williams is different. These guys are not made from the same cloth. They're not cut the same. And I'm telling you guys right now, John Williams is going to be a treat to watch. And you can imagine what I'm describing to you right now. John Williams can transfer to a guard seamlessly on either side of the ball. He's that athletically gifted. When you want to design a run concept and the run game in a way that you want to put the run game basically behind athletic guys that can really get after the defense. And this is what this guy's going to allow you to do. Look at the traits. Stop there. Don't worry about, what he is at Cincinnati. That's not necessarily going to be what it is when he gets to the NFL. I wouldn't have a problem if he got reps at tackle. Left tackle, right tackle, I think he's athletically gifted enough to do either. But if you see this guy and you think you have a need at guard and you want to draft him and transition him to guard, he's the perfect dude to do it with. Him and the next guy I'm about to talk about here in a second. But John Williams, 6'5", 320 pounds out of Cincinnati, great blue chip talent. When I say blue chip, I mean the traits are there. 110%. I won't flinch when I say that. He has all the traits. Everything you need to play tackle or guard. But I think he's going to probably more likely transition to guard, and I think he's going to find a home there. And if he's on the right team, let's say Chicago, he'll find a home there quick. And you will like what you got in this football player, man. He's got great power, man. Just go check him out. John Williams out of Cincinnati, 6'5", 320 pounds, man. Check him out. We're going to get to the next guy in a second after I get to some of these comments. What up, Mayhem? Yes, he is from Bolingbrook, Vic. I forgot to say that. I'm glad you put that out there because I did not take that down in my notes. He is from Bolingbrook. That's another thing that, you might want to mark down. Let me see. Vic, he says he played left and right tackle and has a ton of upside, man. Yes. Victor been doing his homework. Homework. That's what I'm talking about, dog. All right, let's get to some more. We got a couple more guys to deal with. 3, as a matter of fact. Let me see. Nope, 2. Now, let me talk about this guy right here. First of all, feast your eyes on this creature. Now, Micah Mazzccua, he's probably, I don't know, I feel uncomfortable saying whether somebody's going to get drafted or not, where he might get drafted, because I just don't know. But just look at him. He was drafted. Now he's got an interesting story. Micah Mazzccua, he got drafted, I think, originally to Florida. Now, this is just what I can't guarantee you this, but I can just imagine what happened with him. Another blue chip trait piece right here. 6'5", 325 pounds. He's a monster. He's a load. And you look at him right now on film, and you don't see a whole bunch of fat on him now, do you? That's because he's not. These guys are different, guys. These guys are built different. He's from Nebraska, by the way. And he's playing, when you look at him on film, I done done too many of these players. I can't remember if I've seen him on the right or left-hand side, but I want to say he was a left tackle. I mean, a left guard. But he's a pure guard. That's what I think he's, a pure guard. And so, again, I think he signed a scholarship to go to Florida. He left Florida. I think he went to Baylor. And he ended up at Nebraska and getting an opportunity there. I believe somewhere along the line, he probably ran into some issues. What do I think those issues are? It's every young person that comes into college for the first time and thinks this of himself and don't know enough about the world. And they probably have to be humble. You know, and I think it's unfortunate, but the truth is, guys like him, I'm no different than him. You know, it's just imagine yourself being a 17, 18-year-old kid coming into college, not being used to people in your face yelling and spitting and hollering and cussing, being crazy. I had a pretty tough high school head coach, but he knew me. You know what I mean? He knew me. He knew he didn't have to coach me like that because he knew that I didn't need that. You know what I mean? He knew that I came to that field, whether it was practice, game. I was the same guy. I was going to give you every bit of max effort that I had. And so what I'm trying to say is I think his background leads me to believe that emotionally he was probably immature. And that led to the moving around from Florida to Baylor and now to Nebraska, where he found a place for himself. And so what I'm trying to say is this guy, I think you draft a kid like this with these kinds of traits and the play, the anchor that he's got, ain't nobody bull rushing this cat. Number one, you ain't bull rushing this cat. It's not like Nebraska plays against low-level competition. They play against dogs. They're in the Big Ten. They play against dogs. He's quick, nimble. He's fast. Hell of a burst off the ball. That first step really, really stands out to you when you watch him play. But I think you get a guy like this in the building, just know that you're going to have to love on him first. You're going to have to show him some love. And I know that sounds weird and when we're talking about football, but I think you can't coach everybody the same way. And so understanding that before you draft a kid like that, I think he's got great character. And, you know, he wasn't the same football player I seen coming to Florida or Baylor. He wasn't the same guy when he got to Nebraska because he learned. Just like anybody has to learn. You got to go through life and live. But I'm saying all that, telling you all these stories just to tell you that the physical traits are absolutely magnificent. You might not even have to draft this cat. You might priority UDFA this guy. But you get this guy on the team, and I love listening to Dan Rochar and how he coaches football and how he connects with the guys that he's coaching and getting the best out of them. One thing that stood out to me out of all the stuff that I heard him say is what he gets to know the guy. And he starts loving those guys and starts showing them that he really cares. And I think guys like him, depending on what background you come from, that's all they need for them to trust you and give you the very best that they have and will run through a brick wall for you. And I think people that do these podcasts enough, they will probably circle the fact that he moved around from school to school and probably had some issues instead of looking at what's there. There's a hell of a football player inside this kid. There's a hell of a football player inside this kid. You just got to get around the right people that knows how to coach him to get it out of him. Period. But he's an absolute stud. You kidding me? You kidding me? Watch this tape when he's at Nebraska, and I think he plays left guard. I'm pretty sure he plays left guard. And find me how many times somebody bull rushed and pushed him back into the quarterback. Find me how many times he did that. Find me how many times he didn't get off the ball and get the first point of leverage on that defender. This guy's a stud. I'm telling you, he is a stud. 6'5", 325 pounds out of Nebraska. Micah Mazzccua. I hope I said that right, but man, dog, I'm with you. I'm with you. I don't know what you've been through, but I know where you can go. And I would love to see you in Chicago. Look at this freak athletic body on this guy. And you see it all come up on film, too. Just go watch Nebraska's O-line, and you tell me what you see. He's got it. He's just got to get somebody to love and care for him and get him to the next level. This is the kind of guy when you got a veteran offensive line coach that knows how to spot the talent, be able to nurture it, and get it to where it needs to be. This is the kind of piece you look for. Micah Mazzccua, 6'5", 325 pounds out of Nebraska. Treat to watch on film. Treat. Real treat. FFG, anything?
Yes, sir. This kid is actually going to be someone that it's going to be one of them diamonds in the rough. And if you can get him in the right system, he's going to be a powerful playmaker, especially in the run game. Because you're not going to get past him in the pass game. But once they start running those wide zones, or where he gets to run across the field and just tear down the line and just blow people up, or get to the second level in a screen class, it's going to be devastating. He just hasn't had the right situation. I think that's what he's waiting on, the right situation. So when that happens, watch out.
Let's get to the next guy. This is the very last player. Got one more running back for you guys. And this one I'm going to enjoy talking about this one. Because this is another Illinois guy, Northern Illinois' own running back, Antario Brown, 5'10", 219 pounds, probably more 220. He is and so let me just tell you a quick story about this guy. And so I can remember when he came to Northern Illinois. I try to keep a tab on most of the Illinois athletics around here. And I can remember when he came. And he spent, I believe, I want to say 4 years, but it might be 3. But I believe he stayed the entire 4 years at Northern Illinois. And what he was as a freshman, he was decent coming out of high school. And as a freshman, I can see why they was attracted to him. But let me tell you something, man. What he was as a freshman and what he ended up being now as a senior is two different football players. I mean, emotionally, visually, physically, everything about the kid is different. You know, I'm nerdy enough and dorky enough to be watching all that tape from when he was a freshman and sophomore until he was a senior. I watched the kid, and I'm telling you, whoever gets their hands on Antario Brown is got a stud they working with. I'm telling you, this guy, now I look at him play, and what I'm impressed with versus what I saw at first was the natural progression every football player, if you stay 4 years in college and get everything you're supposed to get out of the program and everything that they can bring to the table, as a running back, you should be a different player. You should be not running into your offensive lineman like you did as a freshman. Not, being so aggressive and fast and dynamic that you want to hurry up and hit the hole and expect it to be there and it's not there, and you just running into the into the defender. You've seen that way too many times with him. Fast forward to him being a senior running back and has seen it all. The patience, the burst, it's all there. It's all there, waiting for that play to develop, that blocking scheme to develop, and so he can hit his running tracks. Running tracks could be anything for whatever running back is, whatever he is in that system. But the patience and the understanding to know that you have to, in order to make these offensive linemen look good, you have to help them do that and just be patient enough to let the thing develop. And that's the thing that really sticks out to me about Antario Brown. Not only is he a stud, now he knows how to read a defense, how it's coming at him, and knows how to exploit the crease. I mean, when he sees it and hits it, it's right on time every time. And he can gas you really, really fast, man. I'm telling you, this kid right here might be one of the he's one of the top sleepers in the draft as far as running backs go. Somebody's going to get this kid on a team. He's going to probably end up being a starter. He's probably going to end up being a starter. I'm not going to say it's going to happen in the first year or the second year, but somewhere along the line, somebody's going to hand his cat the rock, and he's perfectly built and suited for the job. He can be a workhorse. At 220 pounds, at 5'10", he can withstand some punishment, and he'll give you some too. And so I'm telling you guys right now, he's one of the sleepers in this draft. I think it might have been Victor that said something to me. I'm gonna get to the comment section real soon. That might have said something to me, and I told him, I said that guy was coming up next. He's definitely on the list, but I'm glad I got to him. And Antario Brown, running back out of Northern Illinois, 5'10", 219 pounds. I think the sky's the limit for him. I think it really is, man. Depends on where he goes and the opportunity he gets. I think the sky is absolutely the limit for him, man. Love this football player, man. FFG, that's it. That's the last one.
He kind of reminds me of the kid out of San Francisco, Guerrero, right? Was a third string running back that ran all over us.
Isaac Garindo.
Okay, Garindo, yeah. That's the kind of who he reminds me of. He just didn't get the opportunity because he played at a smaller school. But when this kid gets a chance, and you could tell the progression he's made, me and Nomad had a conversation about this kid, because I got to see a lot of him when he was younger, and I got a little more, involved, right before the show to see where because it was limited information about him this year in the last 2 years, but you could tell the difference in his running style because he was getting caught behind the line of scrimmage a lot compared to reading his blocks and actually pressing the hole and hitting it on time. Now he's like a machine. And with his size and speed, you're getting 4 yards on most carries minimum because of the power that he has. And if he's got a crease, that's what you want to replace the guy that we thought was going to be that bruising running back and had the agility, which he does have. And you could tell by being a starter and getting better and better and better that he's probably going to take somebody's job, at least as a number 2 going forward. So the thing that Nomad has taught me over and over and again is that a lot of these guys that we're sleeping on that nobody's talking about are gangsters when it comes to playing football and then aren't being watched and getting enough glory because they don't play for the right school or they're not getting on TV or they're not getting the right hype. But don't get it twisted. These cats really got game. And that's where it's going to actually shine on the football field with the right coaching staff, which I believe we have, especially with Eric Bieniemy, because that's who he reminds me of. Eric Bieniemy.
That's a hell of a good point, man. He's going to be attractive to somebody like Eric Bieniemy. You see himself in this kid.
Right. Just because Eric Bieniemy was a big back. I'm telling you, I was in high school and Eric Bieniemy was playing for Colorado and they won the national championship, but they shouldn't have won because the Rocket returned that punt for a touchdown. It was nullified on the BS. But, yeah, that was him. And that was 1989-1990 season. So, trust me when I tell you, there's a lot of these dudes, and Victor Perez been on it. I ain't going to lie. Of everybody in the chat today, he's been doing his homework big time because he's actually doing what we're doing. Just taking their time to look at the guys that aren't getting all the hype and all the press and are really quality football players that can actually benefit the Bears, whether it's in the later rounds or UDFAs, to actually have a sound foundation to build upon going forward with all the real pieces that we already have that can solidify what we're going to do going forward with Ben Johnson's offense, with Dennis Allen's defense. And a lot of these guys can play special teams, which is going to make us a complete football team.
Yeah. And you know what, man? There's like I'm not going to – one thing I think I should clarify with everybody is, like, I don't when I get to doing these guys and evaluating them and thinking, to myself, really what stands out about this guy? If I don't think he's a dog and he's got that dog mentality, I'm not even gonna do him. Like you noticed that I didn't do very many cornerbacks in this offseason thus far, and there's a reason for that. I think there's some dog cornerbacks in this draft. I only did this one just as a, I just wanted to point out that I think this guy's the best in the draft. And, I just had to do that. Antario Thomas, but if it's not pretty much what we need, or I think this guy or I think this guy's a dog and he's a standout to me, really a waste of my time to do it. We don't want no average football players. You want high-end traits that you can really work and develop. That's what you're looking for. You ain't trying to find guys, I like this guy, but does that guy fit in what we're doing? What we got about to do moving forward? What's the point in doing all that? Wasting all your energy for a 3-4 edge rusher. You know what I'm saying? I like some of these guys too, but we're not going to draft guys like that. That's not Dennis Allen's prototype. It's just what it is. And it's not because I don't think the player's a good player. It's just why I'm already spending a lot of time, FFG, looking at all these players. Why would I spend a whole bunch of time evaluating a 3-4 edge rusher? You know what I mean? That won't fit in. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna draft no 6 foot, 235-pound edge rusher in this defense. You're not.
No, man, I give you much respect for all the work you put in, and the rest of y'all should too, because he goes above and beyond every single day, not to just put the shorts and the scouting and the clips and everything else, because, since God rest his soul, Chris passed, he's taken on a whole lot of responsibility to make this channel what it is, and I applaud him every day, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have this forum, and you guys wouldn't have the way to be able to get this quality information and these quality players and the things that we talk about that ain't a bunch of BS. And I straight up really appreciate that all the time, because every time he calls me, it's down to business. We don't really chit-chat enough about BS. We talk straight football. Unless he's like, look, I'm burnt out. Football ain't for me today, but we going to get back at it. Don't worry. We didn't have a conversation many a day.
Hey,
but every time it's real, football is on his mind constantly.
I want to say it is in my DNA, man. I love that football before I love me a woman. I love that football. I did. Early as I can remember, that was my first love. It's my first love. And it wasn't long after I loved a girl, puppy love stuff, but you know what I mean? But, that was my first love. It always was. And I think it comes through me when we do these shows, because it's such an emotional attachment to the game. And I really respect it, because the game really made me, and it gave me everything that I am today, man. And you can try to be a whole lot of things in this world, but what you are truly in your heart and in your spirit I'm a football player, dude. That's what I am. And I love it. And I love doing this for you guys, man. It is fun. I look at this comment by Foster. Foster funny as hell. I'm sick, God. He said, I follow all Illinois teams, even look at Eastern Illinois. They are on my radar, bro. I got you, Foster. Cousin went there to SIU, ISU. It's in my blood. After all, I started football in the 1800s.
That's a fan right there for you, y'all. He said he's been around from the leather helmet days.
Man, hey, Crimson, I appreciate you too, man. He said, I really appreciate all the breakdowns. I lack the bandwidth currently to evaluate much tape. I know it's a lot of people that don't. It's not that I know we got sophisticated Bears football fans out here that really know football. I know we do. I can just look at some of the comments all the time, and I know I'm dealing with qualified football people. The thing is, who has time and who, like Crimson said, who has the bandwidth to put in the work. And I'm willing to do that for you all, man. And I just want you guys to know that, man. I only do this for you all. I got a passion for it, but I just want you all to know you can come to this spot and you're gonna get some real football analysis over here, and not news and is trying to clickbait you into a show. Fuck all that, man. We really do it the real way over here, man.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Foster.
What do you
he said, I didn't go to college, but I party at SAU on the weekends. SAU.
I know you was. I've been down there a few times. They get down. What up, Crooked?
Yes, they do.
What up, Commiss? Yeah, hell yeah. I've been down there a few times. My cousin was at school down there. I've been to a few parties down there. They get it in down at SIU. Carbondale, what? What you know? I've been down there a few times, man, and been on the wrong side of a bottle of damn vodka one too many times to count.
Charles, if you don't stop with this catfish, brother. Man, no. Dang, Victor Perez coming through. Goodness gracious, we love y'all, man.
Appreciate you, Vic.
So much.
Appreciate you. He said, I appreciate you, Nomad. He said, you and your fellow content creators, man, you certainly getting me thinking deep. That's the goal, Vic. That's the goal, is to try to do enough work to where you uncovering stuff. Like Foster was just talking about Eastern Illinois, Western Illinois. I had a buddy that came out of school with me. I knew he wasn't going to get a major scholarship, and I knew he was going to get one of those lower tier scholarships. But he went down to Western Illinois, and they was balling down there. They was balling in a West Coast offense. They was down there balling. And that was several years ago, but, some of those schools have talent, man. I'm talking about Akron. You're talking about your Duquesnes of the world. You're talking about, like, I'll sit and look at a New Hampshire game, Delaware. There's all kinds of schools. North Carolina Central. There's athletes down there. Like, I just seen a dude at North Carolina Central. I'm going to double back on in probably in the next 24 to 48 hours. By the time we get back to the next show, I'm going to see if he's dog enough to get on one of these shows. But I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to do that and look at all that tape. Look at all of it. There's names on the list that's been there for a year, some of them 2 years. Like Landon Jackson has been on my list for 2 years. We ain't even talk about him. Nobody was talking about Landon Jackson before we got to it over here at the Nomad Network. Now everybody's talking about Landon Jackson. I told you he was a beast. We told you. Now everybody's talking about him, man. But Vic, appreciate you, my dog. Appreciate you, man. We need all the help we can get. All the help we can get. It's going to help me pay these bills over here at the end of the month. I'll tell you that. And I appreciate it. But anything else, man, before we get ready to get out of here, man, because I really do need to decompress, man. I'm footballing it up.
You just want to eat. Stop lying.
That too. I got some chicken soup in there.
Yeah, right. You hear the catfish comment.
Illinois State, Foster. I'm finna get to that. They're not that far down on the list, man. I'm not gonna even give you the list of teams I got, because I know some snakes are listening to the show and watching the show, looking for what I'm looking for. I ain't giving it to you. I just got a nice little list. Illinois State's on there, Eastern, Western. There's some Kentucky teams on there. There's some Michigan teams on there. There's some teams down in Georgia don't nobody know about. It's just all kinds of stuff. Texas is a huge-ass state that got all kinds of colleges and good players there that ended up in unfortunate situations, and their dogs had to go to a JUCO or something like that because they messed up with their first scholarship. I know guys like that, that came out and there's a 5-star recruit and messed up in their freshman year and got kicked out of there and had to go to a JUCO like Cam Newton and rebuild your way back up into prominence. There's teams out. There's schools out there. You just got to love football to be able to find those guys. Other than that, don't even waste your time trying to keep up.
Man, there's cats out there like Bethune-Cookman and stuff that nobody know about. That's no joke.
Shoot, I appreciate you, Minister Charles, man. I appreciate you. He said, no matter, this is one of your best episodes. Definitely worth a Friday night. I appreciate it. That makes it all worth it for me. For real. Just these comments make it all worth it for me.
Can we get some shout outs?
Go ahead, man. Hit it up.
Mr. Charles, Foster Graves.
Foster Covers,
excuse me. Excuse me. Crooked Mitt came at the end. It's Crimson Your Dig. You know, Ant Moss always representing. Michael Gutierrez came in late. Ant Moss, Victor Perez, and Go Blue. Just praise y'all, man. Thank you so much for the love today. We really appreciate it. I mean, we can't do it without y'all. So thank you so much for helping us out. Victor Perez, your insight was actually special today. So I really appreciate it. Ron Jaworski came through. A lot of people actually, excuse me, I got the hiccups. I got acid reflux up the, you know what. The Harris Bear group, excuse me. Let's see. Stephen Boswell. We just got so many football minds. Marlon Johnson joined us. You know what I'm saying? Dobbsy jumped in for a minute. So, I mean, we want to really give a shout out to everybody that contributes to the chat, to the channel, that makes us worth doing all this all the time. Squalls, you know, was just doing the damn thing, you know. So I really love the community that we have.
You hiccuping, man. You might want to shorten it, man. I know you got.
I know. I can't even get it all out, man.
That's when you defer, man. You know, when you ain't gonna be able to get through because you're gonna get. Go ahead, but try it. You can try it, man.
No, I just love this channel. I love the people in it. I mean, I think we connect on a deeper level when it comes to football and understanding of what the Bears need. It's not about what the league needs. It's not about what all the contemporaries talk about. It's about how to improve the Bears. And we actually evaluate the players every Friday for y'all to show you what it's going to be and who we can actually benefit from having. So thank you guys so much. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, man, I appreciate you for being here, FFG, man, and being willing to be a part of the podcast and being willing to help out with the content, man. I really appreciate you being willing to be, you know, pliable and knowing that, you know, I'm a particular kind of guy right now, especially with all this, you know, all these football players that you have to deal with, and being patient with me because I know I ain't the easiest person to talk to right about now because I'm so dialed in, man. I'm really dialed in, y'all. And when it came to this offseason, not having Chris here and knowing that I'm going to have to not only do the research, not only that, you got to do the graphics, you got to do the show setups and all the stuff that comes with producing a show. And it I guess when you do it, it don't seem like a whole lot. But I'm telling you guys right now, it's a workload. It's a workload. But here's the thing. When I know I'm listening to you guys, and shout out to Victor Perez and Go Blue for the super chats, because, you know, it ain't all about money and how much you can give to what we're doing here. It ain't about that. It's about being true to the game. It's about being real true to the game. And I'm here to prove to you that there's people out here that are here for the dollar amount. And there's people out here that's true to the game. The people that's true to the game, they're going to do the work. And I'm going to tell you right now, ain't nobody in the Bears content space going to outwork me. Not a one of them. And I said that to many people. Anybody that talks to me and wants to know what you're going to do moving forward, no matter what's your plan, first of all, I'm going to outwork everybody. I'm going to outwork everybody. I'm true to this football shit. I'm true to it. I spend my time. My heart is there. My spirit is there. Everything that you need to be a good Bears content creator. Understanding the systems. Understanding the coaches that came into the building in alignment with Ryan Poles. Giving you pretty much a marching order based on history. And that's all we have. What is Ben Johnson's history? What is Dennis Allen's history? That helps you dial into which players to go out and hunt for. Which players at what school, no matter how big or small, do you pretty much when you're in your itemized list and when you break it down for the people that come and view your content, do you have it dialed in? we got it dialed in, y'all. We got it dialed in. And I appreciate everybody that's a part of this network. FFG, Kids, Nick, Trips, everybody that's a part of it, man, because it ain't done single-handedly, man. We need help from all over the place. We need your help too. Everybody that contributes to the channel, the Super No Maniacs, it all comes out and flushes out in the end as this is where we need to be going. We need to just build on it. And everything and the energy I get from you guys when we do the shows tells me everything I need to know. Keep on pressing though, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep putting your foot on the gas. Ain't nobody gonna outwork me, man. You want to know about these players and you want to know about what they can bring to the table, how they fit in the systems. This is the network to come check out. This is the network to come check out. I think we've proven that. You know what I mean? And we're still going to keep on proving it. It don't stop right here. It's going to keep on coming out. It's going to keep on coming out. And I just want to say I love you guys, man. And what you give us is everything I need to keep putting this content out here, is just giving me energy, man, giving me the spirit, gives me everything I need, man. And everybody that's affiliated with the network, man, they feel the same way. I'm just speaking for them. I know I speak for everybody, FFG, Kids, Nick, Triple R, and everybody's a part of what we do over here. I know I speak for them all when I say thank you, man. We appreciate all you guys, man. And that comes from the heart, man. But with that being said, I'm going to leave you with these famous words. If you can think it and you can see it, there's no reason in the world why you cannot absolutely manifest it. Do not, and I repeat, do not be a prisoner of your own mind. But with that being said, we are